Now, this is case number 537 on the calendar in the matter of Barnard versus Burrington.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Barnard, the defendant was your boyfriend for a long time, according to you about 6 years, and it is your claim that he owes you some money. He owes you money for bailing him out of jail twice. You want him to pay the remainder of a lease that you signed together, and something about a symbol for a drum or something. He says the following. He said it's your fault he got arrested in the first place, so that's why you paid the bail. With regard to the rent, you threw him out, so he's not paying the rent on the lease that you had together. And with regard to the symbol that he broke, while it seems to suggest that he did in fact break it, he said it belongs to your father, so why are you suing? Is that your response, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Let's deal with simple things first. Tell me about this drum thing that you broke.
Well, I'm in a band.
Yeah.
Show, and I had I was down one cymbal because I broke my other one. Her father plays drums too, so she went and got a cymbal from him.
Symbol goes boom.
Yeah, crash cymbal.
Yeah, and
I ended up breaking that one too.
Okay, so you would like to replace that, correct?
Yeah, and I've already been in contact with her father, so I don't know why she's suing me for that. It's not even hers.
Good, so you're going to take care of that with her father?
Yeah, I had already talked to him.
Great. All right, so we don't have to deal with the symbol for the drum. One symbol out of the lawsuit. Now let's deal with the bail. What did you get arrested for, sir?
I had a warrant for no proof of insurance and failure to appear.
So you were driving a car and it wasn't insured?
Well, actually, she was driving the car that wasn't insured. It was in my name. When we first started going out, she had not suspended license, she had a revoked license.
Okay, so she had a revoked license and she put the car in your name?
In my name, so the cops put on the plates, they don't pull her over. She had expired tabs, so she got pulled over.
Just a second. So she got a ticket for driving a car that was in your name, that was no tags and no insurance.
I got the ticket because the car was in my name.
And she didn't get a ticket?
No.
You didn't get a ticket?
I believe that I got a ticket for expired tabs.
Yes.
Was in my name. I got that ticket. And honestly, Your Honor, the situation he's describing, that was a separate incident from the 2 times that he got arrested. These were for 2 separate counties, different incidences altogether.
I see. Just a second. When you were driving the car, did you get pulled over for no tags and no insurance?
Later on.
I don't care later on. I don't care later on. It makes no difference to me. You got pulled over.
Yes, I did.
Don't try to confuse me, sir. I don't like to get confused. I'm old. You were pulled over 2 times.
Yes.
One time you had no insurance.
Yeah.
And one time you got pulled over because they had issued a warrant for your arrest.
Yes.
For failure to appear.
Which stemmed from that, which she was supposed to take care of.
I don't care.
Okay.
That's your fault. That's your bail. How much was your bail?
$300 both times, I think.
Did you pay it?
No, she paid it. I didn't even ask her to pay it. She did because she felt bad because it was her fault.
Why did you pay the bail?
I paid the bail because we were in a relationship.
Just a second. After you paid him bail, did he ever pay you back?
No.
Did you continue to live together?
Yes.
Did you lend him any more money?
I basically supported him while he looked for a job.
Well, he wasn't looking very hard. When did you break up?
It was in February that we broke up.
February of '07?
Yes.
And tell me what happened in February of '07.
He was kicked out of the band that he was in before, and he was only without a band for 2 months. He was without a job for 5. If he'd put half as much effort into getting a job, we wouldn't be here. But he had an audition for a new band, and from that day on, he was completely engrossed in the new band. And I do believe it's because he started a relationship with a 23-year-old singer. So he just started checking out of the relationship entirely. A week later, we got into a big fight because I was not tolerant of his coming and going as he pleased and just doing whatever. So we got into a big fight, and things were said and done that pretty much were...
Well, what was said about him leaving?
Well, the fight occurred, and we didn't discuss anybody leaving until the next day when he came and he told me that he was leaving.
Is that what happened, sir?
Yeah, in a nutshell, yeah.
When you said that you were leaving, what did Miss Barnard say?
She said, fine, go. I'll take you off the lease and go.
Okay, so is that what you did?
No, that's not what I said, and that's not what I did.
Well, you didn't want him to stay there.
Well, actually, I did. I was in love with him.
Oh, well.
Yes, it's pathetic. I know. I'm aware.
Oh. Good.
I'm that girl.
Are you still living in the apartment?
It's a house, and yes, since I filed the complaint, I have received an eviction notice, and there's a way to legally get out of the lease if I can bring the rent current and give him a 60-day notice in addition to paying a termination fee, so that it isn't going to ruin my credit to have to move out. But I can't afford to stay in a 3-bedroom house on my own.
So why don't you get a roommate?
Well, I have 2 children.
So?
And, well, they'd have to share a room, and they're 7 and 10, boy and girl.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's very healthy for them.
Well, where did they live before him?
I lived in a 3-bedroom house.
Oh, well, now you're back in a 3-bedroom house. Stop complaining. You owe her for the bail. That's your bail. You pay the bail, $600. And you deal with the father with the symbol.
Yes.
Okay? So you owe her for your bail. As far as the rent is concerned, you live there with your 2 children. That's very nice. Pay the rent. Now, let's get to the counterclaim. You say that she damaged your car. You want to tell me
Yeah,
about it?
She checked my car into the building the night we had a fight. It was February 17th. We had the fight because I didn't include her in what I was doing that day. You know, I went to see my band, whatever, and because we ended up at a mutual friend's party, she felt that it was her place, that she should have met them first, and so she came to the studio, guns blazing.
Okay, she came to the studio
and she just started raising hell.
And
I came out and she had smashed my car into the wall.
let me see.
I have pictures and an estimate. Before I got the estimate, I assessed it myself. The actual estimate is a lot more than what I figured it was going to be.
You have insurance?
It was insured at the time, yeah.
Well, did the insurance take care of it?
No,
Why?
because I didn't run through the insurance. You know, the insurance was actually in her dad's name.
The vehicle is in my dad's name, and the insurance is in my dad's name, and I paid for it.
You paid for?
I paid for the title transfer, the tabs, 2 months of insurance, and my dad put the car in his name.
Whose car
my
is this?
car.
It's
In
my
whose
dad's
name?
car.
Well, it's in her dad's name, but it's my car. I'm the one paying for it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Why does a man not have a checking account but goes to a check cashing place? Explain that to me. Explain it to me so that I believe it, Mr. Krause.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jessica Barnard claims ex-boyfriend Sean Burrington owes for rent and bail money. Sean is countersuing, claiming Jessica vandalized his car.
Maybe you can resolve this with him when you take care of the symbols. Here, give this back to him. You don't have an interest in suing for the car, Mr. Burrington. The car is not yours. The car is titled in somebody else. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. You owe her $600. That's for your bail. That's all you owe her. Do you understand?
Actually, I really don't.
Well, I've just explained it to you.
I didn't tell him to leave the house.
Yeah, I believe that it was not a good thing for you or your children
Right.
for him to be in the house when there is constant bickering. So if you were a good mother to your two children, you would have said to him, you have to leave. That's what you would have said. I can't put my children in a position where they're going to listen to constant bickering because you've chosen a band over the responsibilities of keeping a home for me and the two children, and you have another child. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's what you're supposed to do. And if you didn't tell him to leave, you should have. Goodbye. $600 is all you get.
Oh.
That's it. Move on.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
15 minutes of fame.
Love is blind.
She thinks she's an actress.
He's a loser.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Revelorio versus Krause. Step forward.
Alita Revelorio says ex-boyfriend Dustin Krause owes for a series of unpaid loans.
Miss Revelorio, the defendant was your former boyfriend. Put your hands down. And it is your claim that you loaned him some money.
Yes.
Mr. Krause says that you were together as a couple, you spent lots of money on each other, but he never borrowed any money from you.
Correct.
How long were you together?
2 years.
Okay, and when was the first loan that you allege you made to Mr. Krause?
It was February 12, the 205.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding the loan.
Well, he was working for his dad at that time, and his work was going really slow. His truck broke down. He didn't have any money, and he said he didn't have his truck. He was going to lose his job. So
He was going to lose his job with his father?
yeah.
Your father was going to fire you, Mr. Krause?
Well, it's not his.
Shh.
No, Your Honor. No, he would let me work there for as long as I needed to.
So your father likes you?
Yes, most of the time.
Okay, so he said something was wrong with his truck, Miss Valerio. Mm-hmm. And?
His truck broke down, and my uncle knew a place, and he offered us to bring the truck over there. We say yes. When it was time to pay, he said he didn't have the money, and so I said, okay, you need your truck to go to work, so I'll let you borrow the money, but you have to pay me back.
How much did you lay out for the truck?
It was $1,200.81, including the towing. They went and towed the truck.
Okay, so that was the first loan.
That was the first loan.
What was the next loan that you made to him?
It was November 10. It was $1,000. His truck broke down again.
November 10th, 2005?
206. That was a year after.
So he hadn't paid you any money
No.
of the $1,200, so you gave him another $1,000.
Well, we had a serious relationship, and the only reason that I was doing that, it was because I wanted to help him. He was abusing on alcohol and on drugs, so I decided, I said, I will help you again. And I did this loan on November 10. On November 17, he disappeared. He just moved out, and he was already with her. That means he was already cheating. And I asked him so many times, I went to his face and I said,
Those were the two main loans you made to him, is that right?
Yeah.
Right, Mr. Krause?
Yes, Your
I'm
Honor.
listening.
The first loan was money that I gave her to write a check due to the fact that I do not have a checking account.
So you gave it to her in cash?
Correct.
Why is it that you don't have a checking account, Mr. Krause?
Because
Is not an answer. Go think. God will give you the answer, sir. It's not going to happen. Why
And,
does a man not have a checking account but goes to a check cashing place? Explain that to me. Explain it to me so that I believe it, Mr. Krause.
when I was married in 2001, Your Honor, me and my ex-wife bounced quite a few checks, so therefore I was in check systems. So I was unable to open a new checking account.
Records on check systems means you wrote out checks and you had no money in
Correct.
the bank. So that was a fraud.
Correct. Yes.
What kind of company are you working for now?
I work for a fire sprinkler company.
Paid in check or cash?
Check.
What do you do with your checks?
Right now?
Look at you looking over there, Mr. Krause.
Yes.
Why are you looking over there?
Just admiring your flag, Your Honor.
Good. Take out your wallet. What card do you have in there, sir?
It's a couple business cards, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it, please. Oh, so you have a bank card.
It's a savings account, Your Honor, that comes from my union.
You have a bank card.
Yes. That I
Right.
just received 2 weeks ago.
That, my honor,
Just-
that's lying. He already has that card for a long time.
Long time.
Long time.
Long time. See the things that you can find out when you look, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
You're $2,225, Mr. Krause. She trusted you.
Yes.
She thought you were going to build a life together.
Correct.
You borrowed money from her twice, and then you disappeared. Not very nice.
All the money that I've borrowed from her, I paid with her at the same time. 'cause
Okay,
obviously
so
I've been
Just a
doing it with
minute.
cash.
Just a second.
Yes.
Don't speak. Did you borrow other money from her that you paid back?
Borrowed money? We've shared money, Your Honor.
You don't share money. You share money maybe with a husband. Not always then either, but you for sure. But how many times did you borrow money from her and pay her back in cash?
I don't know the exact number, Your Honor.
More than 2?
Yes.
More than 4?
No.
So between 2 and 4.
Yes.
But she's only asking for the money that you borrowed from her for these 2 times, sir. So maybe you just forgot. Maybe it wasn't fraudulent like the check cashing that you did with your first wife when you cashed checks with no money in the bank. Maybe it was just a lapse in memory. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,225. That's what.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She said it was just trying to teach me a lesson
Men like this
for going to a younger, more beautiful girlfriend, I guess.
doesn't deserve a woman like me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Sugarbaker versus LaPay. Step forward, please.
Sarah Sugarbaker claims ex-boyfriend Eugene Clinton LaPay owes for a half a month's rent and the down payment on a Jeep Cherokee.
Ms. Sugarbaker, the defendant was your boyfriend for a short period of time.
Yes.
And then a roommate.
Yes.
Because according to you, you took an apartment together, but the relationship didn't work out. You decided to stay together as roommates because
I actually owned my own house, and then I had him as a roommate for a time.
you decided
yes.
to stay.
Yes.
Things didn't work out in the relationship, but at some point, according to you, you loaned him money for a car. And you also claimed that he moved out in the middle of the month owing you rent.
Yes.
Mr. LaPay says that you gave him money for a down payment on a car because he didn't have one, and that he moved out in the middle of the month because you made living there impossible after he found a new girlfriend. That's his defense. When did he move into your house?
February 2006.
Okay, and what arrangement did you make for rent?
I asked for him to pay $100 a week.
When did you move out, sir?
I'm not quite sure. I don't remember.
He moved out when I went to visit my sister in San Francisco in August of 2006.
August what?
It was the second week I visited. I don't know. I wasn't there. He chose to wait until I left town.
After the first of the month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Had he paid his $100?
No.
Why not?
To my knowledge, I had paid my $100 for that week.
Okay, I don't think so.
Okay.
She says no.
Okay.
So you owe her $100 for the rent. Now, let's hear about the car loan.
In late May, yes, he had his car taken away.
Why was your car taken away, sir?
I quit working for my dad, and it was a company vehicle. He took it from me
Why did you stop working for your father?
because he wasn't paying me what I needed to be making.
So where did you go to work?
For Steve, believe,
What does he do?
carpenter.
Steve pay you in check or cash?
Check.
Go ahead.
So then in late May, he came to me and asked if he could find...
Look at me.
Sorry, if he could find a car and insurance would I be able to help him out and loan him some money. A week later, we went and looked at a couple of cars, and he found a red Jeep Cherokee, and then had talked to a high school friend of his that worked at an insurance company. And then May 30th, we actually went out, and I wrote a check to the insurance company.
Let me see. You wrote a check for the insurance company?
Yes,
You wrote
ma'am.
a check for the down payment on the car?
Both, yes.
Okay.
And both canceled checks were there.
When was he supposed to pay you back?
He was supposed to pay me in intervals, as in addition to rent. We're going to add money onto that, and it would get paid off eventually.
And did he make any payments?
No, ma'am.
Okay. When did you find this new girlfriend of yours? Look at me. Look at me.
Sorry.
And her name? Listen, don't give me the goofy look. I said, when did you find the new girlfriend, and what's her name?
Her name is Ashley.
When did you start to date Ashley?
Shortly
Look at me.
Shortly after me and her broke up.
What month and year?
I'm not sure. 2006.
Well, think very, very hard.
I mean, it was, I guess, June. Like, right after me and her broke up.
That's good enough.
Okay.
Checks are written out May 30th. Starts to date Ashley in June.
Right, exactly.
I already got who he is.
Okay.
Okay? I already got who he is. Go ahead.
She lent me the money for the car. It was never
That's
talked
exactly what she said. I loaned you the money for the car, which is exactly what you said, Mr. Lapay. I want you just to think about what you just said.
Okay.
She loaned me the money for the car, right?
about. No, she didn't.
Well, that's what you just said. Did you just lie to me?
No, I did not.
Well, you just told me she
When we were
loaned me the
dating,
money for the
she
car.
had gotten a big check from, I guess, her refinancing of
You're
a mortgage.
sweating, Mr. Lapay. You're sweating a lot.
I know.
Keep going.
And then she loaned me the money, or she gave me the money, and we went there. And I was supposed.
Know what happens to the body? I want you to look at your friend over here. You see any sweat on him?
Mm-mm.
The body has a tendency when it gets agitated, especially when you're not telling the truth. All those endorphins start to go. You know what I'm talking about? How old are you?
24.
You're hardly cooked, so that I really can't get too angry at you because, you know, you're still mentally probably 6. You know,
Yes,
you may be 24, they may be able to drink, you know, and drive a car and everything else, but in a maturity level, you're probably the same age as my grandson.
Yes, ma'am.
So you owe Miss Sugarbaker money, and you owe her $2,532. And you're going to feel much better about it and stop sweating so hard once you take care of your responsibilities, Mr. LePay. I want you to trust me on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Aren't you sorry you embarrassed yourself in front of all these millions of people?
Yes, ma'am.
I know you are. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you, Judge Judy.
Parties are excused. Now, this is case number 596 on the calendar in the matter of Knutson versus Kuntz. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Knutson, this young lady is your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And your lawsuit says that you and your daughter were out drinking one night, just the two of you. And on your way home, there was an accident. You were driving.
Yes.
And it is your claim that the accident was caused when your daughter reached over and grabbed the steering wheel because there was some wild turkeys in the road.
Yes.
And your car was wrecked.
Yes.
And you think she's responsible.
Yes.
Not likely.
Well, Your Honor, I believe that I would have never wrecked my vehicle if she would have pulled the steering wheel out of my control and drove right into a tree.
She never would have had the opportunity had you not been out drinking with your daughter.
I had a firm grip on the steering wheel.
She never would have had the opportunity to grab your steering wheel if you hadn't been out drinking with your daughter. Where did you go drinking that night?
We went to Velva.
What's Velva?
Velva is a city approximately 15 to 20 minutes away from Sawyer.
Who else went out drinking that night?
It was just us two, ma'am.
Is this the first time you went out drinking with your mother?
No, ma'am.
What time did you start drinking?
It was approximately around 9 p.m.
So it was an evening of drinking.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see any turkeys in the road?
No, ma'am.
She said they were chickens.
I don't care whether they were turkeys,
I'm
chickens,
sorry,
mongoose, or pelicans.
I'm sorry.
If you hadn't been drinking that night, the accident wouldn't have happened,
I'm an experienced driver,
even when you're drinking.
and I haven't had that much to drink that night.
I am disinclined to find your daughter responsible for an accident that happened while you were driving after you had spent a night drinking. So if your truck was wrecked, and if you didn't have insurance on it, go out and buy a new one.
I did have
However,
insurance.
that's what your daughter says that you did. And she has a counterclaim that I'm really more interested in.
Your Honor.
And her counterclaim is that After this happened, you asked her to cash a check for you, and she did. You told her that the check was from some work that you did online. She cashed the check for you for $2,000. With the $2,000, you went and bought another vehicle. But it turns out that the $2,000 check was a scam. And her bank account was then overdrawn, and the bank went and claimed the money because it was a bad check. She wants you to pay her back that money. Now, where did you get this check from?
It was from Interglobal Lotto. I have the letter that I received.
Can I see the letter, please? Now, when was the car accident with the alleged turkeys?
In
what
about
month?
April, the middle part of April of 2006.
And you got this letter from Interglobal Lotto on November 3rd, 2006, after the turkeys.
Yes. And Your Honor, I would have never crashed my van.
I don't want to hear any more about your van.
If she would have been back.
I don't want to hear any more about your van. You wouldn't have crashed your van if you hadn't gone out drinking with your daughter.
If I would have been by myself, I would have never crashed.
It's not happening, madam. Move on with it. So after you got this bogus letter, what did you do?
I got a hold of Crystal, and I asked her if she could take me to our bank, because we both banked at the same bank.
For what?
To cash the check. That was attached with that letter.
Your Honor, I do have a copy of the check.
Can I see it, please?
And we went there, and they said that I no longer had an account there, so Crystal said that I'll cash it on my account because I have an open account, and the bank teller had her sign it after I had signed it.
Good, and she cashed this bogus check for you that any 4-year-old could tell from the letter itself was a bogus letter. The only thing it didn't say that it came from some third world country, which they usually do.
Your Honor,
Just say nothing. She cashed the check and she gave you the
money after I gave her $250 for.
She gave you the money.
Yes.
And what did you do with the money?
I paid on some bills and I bought myself a vehicle.
Fine. So you spent the money on yourself, on your bills, which you would have to pay anyway, and a car for you, and it turned out to be a bad check. Who do you think should be responsible for paying for your bills and your car? Her or you?
Well, she never paid anything for it, and the bank, it was investigated by a detective, and he investigated the case because the bank had filed a
Listen to my question.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if this letter that any idiot would know is a fake,
yes,
came with a check for $2,000, and if they said, we'd want you to cash this check and then send us back $2,000, and we're going to send you $120,000.
That's not what it says on the letter, though.
I know that. Put on your listening ears. If it had said that,
right.
If is the word, and she cashed the check for $2,000, and you sent it back to Interglobal Lotto, and it turned out to be a bad check, and you were just waiting for your $120,000 to come, I would say, well, maybe you both got skunked. She was dumb enough to cash the check, and you were dumb enough to believe this windfall. But that's not what happened.
Right.
You paid your own bills, bills that you would have to pay anyway. You bought yourself things. You had the advantage of the money. So between you and your daughter, who should have to pay it back? You, listen to me, you who got the benefit of the money, or your daughter, who maybe got the benefit of $250.
Well, Your Honor, it says on there, though, that that's just to pay the taxes on the $120,000. So I figured I'd spend the $1,900 and then wait until I got my $120,000 and then I'd take care of the taxes.
Do you have a lot of children?
5.
Are you not listening to what I said?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Then try answering my question.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Who should pay the money back? Is that a hard question?
No.
Is that a hard question? My 4-year-old grandchild could give me an answer to that question, madam.
And later today,
Did the defendant ever call the police and allege any domestic violence in your home?
No, she didn't.
Police were never called to your home.
She should have, though.
I'm not speaking to you.
real cases, real people, Judge Judy. Doreen Knutson says her daughter, Crystal Kuntz, wrecked her car while trying to avoid turkeys crossing the road.
You got the benefit of the money. You spent it on yourself.
Right.
She didn't. Between you, who got the benefit of the money, and your daughter, who did not get the benefit of the money, who should pay the money back? Is that a hard question?
No.
Is that a hard question? I've repeated it now 3 times. 3 times. My 4-year-old grandchild could give me an answer to that question, madam.
Well, actually, I think the bank should go after the company who issued the check, because it's like writing a bad check. They wrote a bad check and they won't honor it. The bank cashed the
I would
check.
like you, Miss Knutson, to make me a promise. I want you to raise your right hand, please. I will never go into global finance.
Go into global finance.
Because I do not have the capacity.
No, I don't want to say that.
Yeah,
but-
well, you don't. Did your mother give you $250? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes, ma'am. The reason why she had given that back to me, she was on my savings account at my bank. There was an issue previously, which I do not have the information on, but I have a little sister where I went to my bank one day, my account was overdrawn, and my little sister that's only 13 apparently had a checking account, and there was a check that was deposited into the account that was overdrawn. Come to find out, my little sister that was 13 never had an account. I had to end up paying because I only had $70 in there at the time, and so she felt to pay me that back out of the check that she had received.
Was there a problem with your 13-year-old daughter's account?
No.
No, all right.
She never had an account.
All right.
That was her.
Your claim against your daughter for causing the wreck of your car is dismissed. I am awarding her $2,000 on her counterclaim. You spent the money, you enjoyed the money, you paid your bills, you have to reimburse the bank. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's too bad that my mother had to sue me.
It breaks my heart.
I think she just wanted the money for a new vehicle.
I thought, maybe she could help me out.
There were no turkeys on the road.
It happened, like I said, it happened.
Maybe not go out as much as we do together.
Definitely no going out driving anymore.
I just hope I can have my mom back and we can be the same as we used to be.
We'll put it behind us and continue to have a good relationship.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Clark versus Schwegler. Step forward.
Douglas Clark is suing his ex-girlfriend, Marlena Schwegler, for stealing his belongings when she secretly moved out of his home.
Mr. Clark, the defendant, was your girlfriend. She moved in with you a couple of years ago, lived with you. One of her children, she has a couple of other children that came to visit periodically because she shares custody of those children, according to what I read, with another ex-husband. She lived with you for 2 years, and you came home one day and you found your home stripped.
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
She moved out and, according to you, took property, and the property was yours. The defendant says that she only took what was hers, and she had very good reason for leaving without giving you appropriate notice or doing things in an orderly fashion. So I have a few questions. How long did you live together, Mr. Clark?
We lived together for 18 months, Your Honor.
From when to when?
From July 2005 until February 2007.
And Mr. Clark, I have specific reasons for asking these questions. Between July of 2005 and February 2007, did the defendant ever call the police and allege any domestic violence in your home?
No, she didn't.
Police were never called to your home.
She should have.
I'm not speaking to you. From July of 2005 until February of 2007, were you employed on a regular basis?
I was employed by 2 jobs, Your Honor.
And between July of 2005 and February of 2007, was the defendant employed?
She was employed for 2 months out of the 18 months she lived with me.
Which 2 months?
Right before Christmas of 2006.
Where were you working in December of 06, Ms. Schwingler?
Maid Pro.
What was your starting day of work?
October 05 until December
05. And for the remainder of the time that you and the defendant lived together, you were unemployed?
Correct.
Were you working on a full-time basis or a part-time basis?
It was full-time. And the reason for leaving, why I left too, also, is my daughter became quite ill. And it was very stressful for myself and, just going through it with working and also...
Were you working at the time that you moved in with Mr. Clark?
No, I was not.
And your daughter wasn't ill?
No.
Right. That was in July of 05.
Correct.
And in August of 05?
I was not working also.
And your daughter wasn't ill?
Correct.
Okay. When you left in February of 2007, you left without notice.
Correct.
You had rented an apartment.
Correct.
What day did you leave?
It was February 28th, I believe.
Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. It was a Wednesday.
On February 27th, where did you sleep?
In what bedroom? At the house?
Yes.
I slept in my daughter's room.
Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
When did you stop sharing a room with Mr. Clark?
Probably a good year after being with him.
Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Well, I assume there was some reason that you were no longer living as a couple after a year.
Yes.
You want to tell me what that was?
Things just went sour when she started going out Friday nights. She started going out Friday nights to a bar, and she never knew when to come home.
Well, so you were aware that there were problems.
Yes.
Did you ever discuss the problems? Did you go for counseling about the problems?
We discussed the problem, but things didn't change because every Friday night while I was working 2 jobs, she still went out partying. And
Okay. What furniture did she take from the house, sir?
furniture she took from my house were the 3-bedroom sets I purchased, along with all the
Just a second. 3-bedroom sets.
along with all the dressers, 3 TVs, a pre-lit Christmas tree, 2 wicker chairs.
Okay. And the 3-bedroom sets were purchased because her children would come to visit.
Exactly.
Okay. They have to be returned. Listen to me carefully. Carefully. There are ways to take care of business and there are ways not to take care of business, Ms. Sheindlin. And what you did was you lived with this man for a year and a half. It didn't work out. You moved into his home with one of your children, and according to you, 2 of your children came periodically for visits. According to you, you worked marginally, less than 1/4 of the time that you lived together, you were employed. So you were not contributing to the household, and it is clear.
I contributed.
It is clear you were not contributing financially to the household. You have children living with you?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
So you, your daughter, and 2 other children were living there and were being supported for the most part by Mr. Clark. In my judgment, you owed him a sit down and saying to him, I'm leaving. I'm leaving, and I believe that I want to take this property with me for this reason. I believe you bought the 3-bedroom sets for my children as gifts.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
If in fact Douglas was that type of person where you could sit down with him, that's the way it should have been done. He was very abusive. That's the way I needed to do it. I could not sit because I feared my children's safety and my own, because when he became drunk, he was abusive.
Then you take your daughter, listen to me, madam, then you take your
sit
daughter and leave. If you were legitimately afraid for your own safety and the safety of your daughter, then you don't do anything to antagonize him, like taking the property that you took that you didn't buy. You didn't buy it.
They were gifts.
No, they weren't.
They were gifts.
No, they weren't gifts.
Oh, yes, they were.
No, well, that's why you're here in court, for me to make a judgment. And there is no question that when he purchased the bedroom sets, he bought it for your children when they were in his home. That's true. But there is no question in my mind, madam, that he did not say to you, just put on your ears and listen, I'm buying these bedroom sets. If it doesn't work out between us, you can take all the bedroom sets and all the furniture and leave with... There's no question he didn't say that. He said, I'm buying these things. I want the kids to be comfortable when they're here. And I assume that we're going to be together. But he didn't say to you, when you want to leave, you can take all that stuff with you. You got it? Because that doesn't make sense. Now let's get to the television sets.
The television sets, Your Honor, I have a duplicate copy of the television sets that are similar to the television sets.
No. I want to know when they were purchased and by whom.
The television sets were purchased in November of '04.
Before she moved in.
8 months before she moved in, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Ms. Sheindlin?
Yes, we were getting the children's rooms ready. Yes.
Fine. They go back. They go back with a marshal in 5 days. I will prepare an order. You can go and have it picked up with the marshal. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand, Your Honor. But will the bedroom sets be in the same condition as they were when they left my premises?
I certainly hope so, sir, because Ms. Sheindlin says she was afraid of you. It would be very foolish of her to return the property in damaged condition. If she does, we will give you a tape of this case, and you take her to small claims court, and you sue her again. But don't bring her to me. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
We will prepare an order. The only thing is you're going to have to go and get the stuff. But it's coming back to you. You have no right to take that stuff, madam. You had no right to take his television sets, which you didn't purchase, or the bedroom furniture that was purchased for your children when they were living in his house. That's all. Step out.
Parties. Your Honor, this is case number 567 on the calendar in the matter of Schiller versus McCraw. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. You're welcome.
Miss Schiller, this is your daughter, and you're suing her for a loan that you made to her when she was pregnant and you wanted to help her get her finances in order. Your daughter says that you did, in fact, loan her some money. However, you also stuck her with a year's lease on an apartment that you signed together when she was 8.5 months pregnant, so you're even. That's your defense, right?
Correct.
Okay. I gather from your papers, Ms. Schiller, that you and your daughter had a sort of up-and-down relationship for a while. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, ma'am.
What made you decide to move in together?
My daughter was pregnant and needing assistance and support. I thought that her and I moving in together would not only help her to get back on her feet, but also to help her get her credit back in good standing.
Where do you work?
I work for myself. I'm a housekeeper.
You and your daughter rented an apartment and both signed a lease.
Yes,
in what
ma'am.
month?
In August of '06.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And what was the rent on the apartment?
$595 plus the deposit.
And when did you move out?
December 11th.
Had you paid December's rent?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now tell me about this loan that you made to your daughter.
Well, my daughter
She had a whole bunch of credit cards.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we know that. You wanted to consolidate those credit cards, so you put it on your
manage
credit
it.
card.
I put it on my credit
How
card.
much?
$48.57 and 80 cents, I believe.
And you made no payments on this?
I had made one payment
Of how much?
of $100.
Okay. Now, what I found interesting, Ms. Schiller, about your complaint was you say that after you moved in August, you didn't like your daughter's attitude. According to you, she thought she was entitled to things and you were willing to make certain allowances because she was 8 months pregnant, but you got annoyed. And you wanted her to sign a note for this loan. And she did sign a note. Is that right?
She did.
And after she signed the note, you told her you were moving out.
I'd like to explain if I may.
Go ahead.
That was not why I moved out. It was
Not why. I didn't say it was why you moved out. You said, I made Patsy sign a piece of paper stating that she would pay me $200 a month
Yes, ma'am.
towards the credit card just to play it safe. After Patsy signed, I told her I was moving out.
I was misunderstood. That's not my intention. My intention was
It
to
wasn't a misunderstanding.
continue what I had been doing to help Patsy. The only reason I moved out was because of the aggression that was going on between us.
So is what you're saying your intention was to have her sign this piece of paper and move out but continue to pay your half of the rent?
No, ma'am, I had no intentions of moving out until the physical altercation happened between Patsy and I.
Well, tell me about the physical altercation. That's not the way it appears in your complaint, Ms.
I'm
Schiller. In
sorry,
your
I-
complaint, it appears that you had to sign a piece of paper, you told her you were moving out, then you got into an altercation with her where you were fighting over this piece of paper. That's what you wrote.
I'd always had intentions of this being only temporary because I have my own life. I was assisting my daughter, and the only reason I moved out was because of the physical altercation that we had. I'm sorry that it's not right on the paperwork.
Well, tell me about the physical altercation.
Well, after my daughter and I had wrote the promissory note, we talked about it, and then I sat back and I explained to Patsy that I did not like the way she was behaving. I thought that, to take advantage of me after I created a business for her.
No, just don't go into what you did for her.
Okay.
You didn't like how she was behaving, and?
So after this conversation, it made Patsy mad because I told her I didn't appreciate what she was doing and that she was not being appreciative of what I was doing. And I told her that she needed to work things out from here on in. And it made her mad.
What does that mean, you have to work things out from here on in?
I wasn't
Ms.
going
McGraw,
to be
you
there
want
to
to tell me
solve
what your
her
mother said to you?
problems.
She's skirting around the issue.
Okay. The whole situation started where she didn't like my attitude and thought that I was expectant of certain things. It was actually my birthday, and my father helped me out and bought me a new mattress. I was 8 months pregnant, sleeping on a bad mattress. It wasn't a good situation. My mother would rather I chose between parents.
No, so
Your
what
Honor,
happened?
that's
So
not
when you
true.
Anyway,
Shh.
okay.
So your father bought you the mattress.
Mom basically didn't like that I had accepted help from him. We had had a bad weekend.
What did she say to you, Miss McGraw, about
About not-
accepting the mattress from your father?
That I used him to get what I needed out of him. He lives out of state. We don't see each other often. I also own my own housekeeping business. In my 8th month, we started working together because there were certain things that I couldn't complete myself. That Monday we went to work and we had another lady working with us. And my mother was talking to this lady and basically digging, saying how, children were so unappreciative and ungrateful and this and that. And
Your Honor, she was talking. I'm sorry.
I took it personally. And I told my mother that I wasn't going to be exposed to this stress, that I didn't want to work with her anymore. I would find somebody to help me with my accounts, and she could keep the person that we hired together for her accounts. She insisted that if I wasn't going to work with her anymore, that she wasn't going to take me home. I needed to walk home. So 8 months pregnant, I think I got 3.5 miles before my sister finally came and picked me up. That night we went home. She said, tomorrow after work we need to sit down and talk. I said, okay. We sat down and talked. She said, I want to write out our financial agreements. Her agreement being that she would pay half of the lease, half of the utilities and food, and help me out on my maternity leave. And she had consolidated a debt for me, and I was going to be able to pay that back. I insisted that we write the agreement out on one paper. Her half of the agreement, my half of the agreement. She insisted, no, we'll write it separately. You sign your agreement, I'll sign mine. My mother manipulates situations, and I should have known better, but I did.
Just tell me what happened after you
I did sign my half of the agreement, and as I handed it to her, she said, Patsy, you're on your own, I'm moving out. I went to take the contract back from her, which resulted in a physical altercation.
Gotcha.
I was backed into a corner.
Purse.
She pressed up against my belly and slammed my arm against the furnace.
Okay.
Your Honor,
And-
that
ugly.
is not true.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So you didn't pay December and you didn't pay January.
And
No,
she
ma'am,
took
but I
my half
also-
of December's rent. I'd given my half of December's rent to my mother, and my mother left with that money.
And later today,
There are people who are screw-ups in this world, madam.
He has a 6-year-old son. He's not saying that I tried to help him find.
There are people who will never get it. He may be one of them.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Annette Schiller says her daughter, Patsy McCraw, owes for credit card debt that was transferred to her account.
Listen, it's unfortunate, but certain things are objective facts, not subjective.
I am
Objectively, you owe your mother $4,800 for this loan that she made to you. You owe your daughter $2,400 for your half of the rent. You can't just decide to move out because you don't like her attitude.
Your Honor,
You could decide to move out, but you have to pay her.
Your Honor, I did move out, and the reason I moved out was because of the physical altercation.
Miss Schill, let me tell you something. You didn't like what happened. She went back and she took the note because I absolutely believe your daughter, because that's what you wrote, that you said to her, let's figure out our financial circumstance. Let's sit down calmly. She was totally expecting you to work out the financial part of it and then move on and put this behind you. But what you were doing is you were solidifying your position that she owed you the money before you told her you were leaving. You know, you're a free person. You can leave her if you want to. You have to pay your half of the rent.
And
Your Honor,
And she has no obligation with a new baby to find somebody else to move into that apartment.
No, ma'am, I did. I asked my daughter Nina to move in and take my place, which she did and is still
When
lives
did she
there.
move in and take over your
February.
rent? So you didn't pay December and you didn't pay January.
And
No,
she
ma'am,
took
but I
my half
also-
of December's rent. I'd given my half of December's rent to my mother to make out one check to the landlord, and my mother left with that money.
Okay, so that's 3 months' rent. $595, which is the month of December.
Correct.
Which your half she took, she doesn't deny that, and half of
January.
January.
Your
Let's
Honor.
make it an even $300.
I also paid Patsy 30% of the work that I did while she was out on maternity leave. I also helped her from there on in.
That's
Your Honor,
fine.
I have been a
I
good
just
mother, and
want
I have
to,
supported her right from the beginning, and I just like to be
Initially.
heard.
Good. But
And
you were
that's-
heard.
I had
appreciate
to
You were
make her
heard.
sign a
You were heard.
contract.
However, you owe her for the month of December, and you owe her for your half of the rent for January. But you still owe your mother for this consolidated loan. You
Your
don't
Honor.
owe
I feel
$4,800, you owe
the promissory
$3,905.
note was ripped in half. It was
I don't care
called
whether
even.
doesn't make any difference whether the promissory note was ripped in half. Put your hand down.
Yes, ma'am.
You told me that she lent you the money
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that you could consolidate your debt.
Yes, ma'am.
You acknowledge that. That doesn't have to be a note.
You're right.
And
I'm sorry.
And I am giving you credit for the amount of rent that you had to expend after she left without paying the rent.
Right.
Until your sister moved in.
Right.
Fine. So you owe your mother $3,905.
Okay.
You're right.
Pay her. That's all. That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Always excused. You may step out.
Tough love is not only hard for the child, but it's hard for the parent.
I believe in tough love. I don't think that this falls under that category.
Still love her and will always care about her.
I've had such up and downs with my mom that it's tough, but I'm used to it, I guess.
If you keep talking, you can work out anything.
I really don't see much of a relationship continuing for the two of us.
I do love her.
I don't have room for the stress and the drama.
And I always have and I always will.
It's just not a good situation all around.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tillis versus Fortone, step forward.
Camilla Tillis is suing her former employee, 21-year-old Arturo Fortone, for unpaid rent and bills, as well as bail money and impound fees.
Ms. Tillis, is your husband in the military?
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, the defendant both was a boarder in your home and was hired to work in your business.
That's correct.
And based upon his own statement, Mr. Fortone
Yeah, Fortone.
is a bit of a screw-up. And you hired him to work on your business to make deliveries. What kind of business do you have?
We deliver from 8 different restaurants to people's homes and offices as like an alternative to pizza. So it's a catering business.
And he was a driver.
Yes.
And he lived in your house.
Yes.
He was supposed to pay rent.
Yes.
And according to you, he didn't pay the rent he was supposed to. Your car was pulled over when he was driving for the business because he was driving drunk and it was impounded. You had to pay impound fees and bail fees for him. He didn't pay his rent. You finally got fed up with him. You fired him. But according to you, because he was drunk all the time and always getting into difficulty, you lost a lot of business. What's your first name?
Arturo.
Arturo says in his answer, well, he sort of told you that he was going to screw up. You should have believed him. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you
right
said?
off the bat.
All right. Do you owe her any rent?
No, I don't.
Did you pay her rent?
Yes, ma'am. After the last time that I was there, I lived there like half of the month I was there, and I paid her half of the month, and then I left.
What did you pay? Every 2 weeks or every month?
Yeah, like every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks I'll give her half.
When did you, Arturo, we're going to talk honest with each other.
Oh, yes.
Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Good. When did you hire him?
In May.
He was driving your car during the first instance.
My husband's car.
And tell me what happened. He got pulled over for DUI?
Yeah.
The car was impounded?
Yeah.
Show me your check to get the car out of impound.
That I do not have because they were very uncooperative at the impound place, but I do.
But you do have what?
I have proof of that we bailed him out, and our car was in impoundment while he was in jail. So in order for my husband to get back and forth from work, we had to get the car out of impoundment.
You got the car out of impound while he was still in jail?
Yes, ma'am.
How much was it?
$200.
Did he pay you back that money?
No.
I believe you. You have no proof that you gave her back that money, do you?
No, ma'am.
And what about his bail?
Oh, I'm sorry. The impound was $160. The bail was $200. I apologize.
Okay. What about the bail? You have proof that you paid it?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
You have proof that you paid her back?
No, actually, the way it worked, that I was in the jail, and I had my money in my account, and I had my credit card in my wallet. So I told one of the CEOs for there to get my wallet so I could bail myself out. And he was like, well, even though you can do that, you're not going to be able to bond yourself out. Somebody has to sign for you outside of the jail.
Right.
So she didn't have the money to bail me out because she said she was broke.
Just a minute. She posted the bail.
She signed the papers, but
Right.
she did not pay it. I paid it out of my pocket.
Well, when did you give it back to her?
That's the thing. She didn't pay it the cash. The jail handed her the money to go bail me out. Like, it was a transaction between the jail and me, and she was just like the middleman that had
I mean,
signed
you
the
gave her
paper.
your credit card.
No, the jail swiped the credit card, and they gave her the cash.
I don't
And
even know
she
where the
went.
jail is.
That's how I got out. I told the
Then
jail
you should
to swipe
have
my card.
Then
and
you should have the bill from your credit card that says that $200 was withdrawn on November 11th, 2006. Where is that?
I don't have it, ma'am.
Well, where'd you think you were coming today? That's your evidence.
Kind of forgot it. Kind of not.
All right. What else do you think he owes you for?
He owes us $500 for December's rent. He did pay $200 of January's rent, so he owes me $300 for January's rent. And one of our biggest accounts is the Courtyard Marriott at the airport. I have a history of all of our orders at the Marriott.
I know. Let me cut you off there, Ms.
Yes.
Tillis. One of the things that you're suing him for, which you cannot recoup, is you claim that because he turned out to be a less than stellar employee, you lost business.
Yes.
You don't get paid for that.
But he's not an employee, he's an independent contractor, and he signed a contract.
That may be. You still don't get paid for that.
Okay.
What else?
An additional $80 a month in utilities that we only received $20 of one time from May.
What else? You're talking nonsense to me.
Okay. Those
He owes you $360 for his bail and for the impound fees on your car.
Correct.
That's what he owes you for.
Correct. $500 for December's rent.
No.
$500 for January.
No. He owes you $160 for one thing, $200 for another. That's his bail and the impound fees that were directly caused by his actions. And you, as you say, floated him December's rent. I read your complaint. That's what he owes you, $360. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
May I say something else, Your Honor?
Sure.
He sat there at our Thanksgiving table and told us what a blessing we are in his lives, how many times we helped him. He doesn't get that his feelings don't define his character, that it's his actions that define his character. He doesn't realize the effect he has on everybody else. We tried to help him so many times.
There are people who are screw-ups in this world, madam.
He has a 6-year-old son. He's not saying that I tried to help him find.
Miss Tillis,
and he said he just made his peace with
there
it.
are people who will never get it. He may be one of them.
May I just explain one more thing? I was on bed rest because I was 8 months pregnant. So my husband had to be in the house with me, so he couldn't drive the orders. So when he drove down our
There is
sidewalk...
no cause of action for someone who is either an employee of yours, and he was clearly an employee of yours because that's what he was doing. He was making deliveries. And the fact that you made him an independent contractor for the purposes of insurance does not sway me one way or another. He was making deliveries for you, for your business. That's what he was doing, and he was doing it on a regular basis. And if he was a drunk and kept getting himself into trouble, and if you kept him on at least twice, because he got pulled over once, you kept him on until he trashed his own car.
I just felt he deserved a second chance.
Until he trashed his own car. You don't get paid for the business that you lost because you made an error in judgment by hiring him. That's not a cause of action. You don't get that. You do get $360, which was his bail, which I don't believe he paid, and the impound fees, which he caused by driving while he was drunk. Got it?
But he...
Yes, ma'am.
May I say one last thing? He also moved out without giving me any notice whatsoever.
Goodbye, Ms. Tillis.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
He owes you-
You guys have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Short, you and the defendant were engaged to be married. You were living together. It didn't work out. Mr. King left. He left you a note saying, goodbye, it's not working out. Since you were living in a home and you'd signed a lease, you think he should be responsible for his portion of the remainder of the lease, which was 6 months. And in addition, since he terminated the engagement, you believe that he should be responsible for some of the wedding expenses.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. King says he was more than generous. He left a month's rent in advance. He left you his share of March's rent. And in addition, he has a counterclaim. He said that you kept some of his belongings and those of his daughters, who I assume was living with you, and something about a timeshare that you owe him for. He's going to explain that to me. When did you move in together?
September of 2000.
And when was the last time you signed a lease together?
August of 2002.
And what kind of property was that, a home or an apartment?
It's a townhome that we were renting.
You both signed the lease?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct, Mr. King?
Yes, we both did sign that lease.
And what was the rent on the apartment?
$1,510 plus water, which was typically $25 a month. So typically we were paying $1,535 a month.
Okay. And what was Mr. King's share of the rent?
Most months he would pay between $600 and $650 towards the rent.
Is that right?
Yes.
And you moved out in February, sir, and you paid for March?
I paid $575 to her for
March?
March.
All right. So you have April, May, June, July. You have 4 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's $2,400. Now, you, Mr. King, are going to explain to me why you believe you should not be responsible for that $2,400.
Okay, first off, the Capital One bill, which she had placed on this, I guess she's removed it since
I don't
then.
know what you're talking about. I asked you a question. I'm not talking about your counterclaim yet, Mr. King. I'm talking about why you should not be responsible, since you obligated yourself under a lease, why you should not be responsible for $2,400, which is your portion of the rent on the lease that you obligated yourself to pay for.
Well, I feel that all of the bills that we incurred that created debt for us, which primarily is the Transwest account, as well as the lease, which were both things that we signed, 50%, 50%.
I'm not talking, sir, about your counterclaim. So is what you're telling me that you should be responsible for $2,400? And then I will get to your counterclaim.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you're saying?
No. If I'm taking on my portion of it, then she should also be responsible for taking on her portion of it.
Well, what bills did you take responsibility for, sir?
The Transwest account.
And what is the Transwest account?
It is a timeshare that we signed up for.
That's your counterclaim, sir. I mean, are you not hearing what I'm saying, or are you just being intentionally thick? I'm not entertaining your counterclaim yet. I will do that, which may be a set-off.
Okay.
Is what you're saying to me that you do, in fact, owe her $2,400 for the rent, barring any counterclaim that you have?
For the rent, yes, ma'am.
Now let's get to the wedding expenses. What wedding expenses are we talking about?
There were flowers that were purchased. And
flowers purchased?
Yes, ma'am. Originally, I was going to put the flowers together myself into the bouquets and the headpieces.
These are the flowers that you purchased?
Yes, ma'am. And in turn, we then turned around and had somebody put them together for us. I feel that, seeing as how those flowers could have been used for other things, had they not been converted already into bouquets and headpieces and such, that he should have to pay the cost of having the flowers put into wedding pieces.
Why?
Because of the fact that I numerous different times after he started getting cold feet asked him, is this wedding going to go forth? And he numerous times kept ensuring me, yes, this wedding is going to go forth. The wedding dress is also there because the wedding dress was actually a second dress. I had hired someone to create a dress for me because we were originally going to do a medieval wedding, and so I had purchased fabric for that, had hired someone to do the dress for me, and then his mother kept saying repeatedly that she wanted a more normal wedding, a more traditional wedding. So I asked him, he said all he wanted was to marry me. Seeing as how we were going to be together and sharing all these expenses would be no problem at all. So I took the fabric, gave it to my sister. She was going to take the fabric that had been purchased to make my original dress and was going to make our flower girls and junior bridesmaids dresses, and I purchased a second wedding dress. Whereas if he had told me that he was having cold feet or wanted out of it, I never would have.
He was having cold feet, madam. He told you he was having cold feet. He postponed the wedding.
He said postpone, not cancel.
That should have been a clue. That should have been a clue. Somebody says, they're having some problems here. The wedding's going to go forward, hon. You know I want to marry you and I know I love you, but I'm really not quite comfortable. I wouldn't go out and get flowers.
He did that part, though, after the second dress was purchased.
Okay, Mr. King, I want you to tell me about the property that you claim that Ms. Short is holding that belongs to you, as well as this timeshare.
Okay. First, there is 2 beds, twin, which is my daughter's, and a queen size, which is mine. A television and a VCR, which I had brought with me from the last place that I had lived. A computer, which I had purchased back there, and then a monitor that we had purchased when we were in a relationship together. Those are the primary items.
Well, you said we purchased the monitor. Certain things you say you purchased, and some you said we purchased a monitor. When you said we purchased a monitor, who put in the money?
Both of us.
It was put on my credit card, Your Honor.
Okay. What about the other things he talked about? Beds?
There are pictures right here that I have as evidence. He has the garage door opener to the garage. All of his belongings have been in the garage since a week after he left. At one point, he came to the house, retrieved some of them, but has had the garage door opener since then, and he has refused to come by the house to pick up the rest of his belongings. They are all in the garage. He has full access to them at any time, whether I'm there or not, because he does have the garage door opener.
Sir, the things that you mentioned are here. Mm-hmm. So why don't you go get them?
The last time we had arranged to be able to talk about this whole situation, it was approximately a week and a half after I had left, and I went to make contact with her, and we sat down and we had lunch, and then we went over to the house, and I went to start loading items up in my car because she was speaking on the telephone, and I figured I'd give her privacy. And so I was loading the items up, and I went to load my computer up, and she told me that I could not take it because...
Well, is the computer and the monitor?
Well, at the time...
Yes, ma'am.
Of course. Well, you can't take the computer and the monitor, sir. You didn't pay for it.
Well, the computer I did, ma'am.
What about the computer?
The computer, he did bring the PC portion of it. Yes, ma'am, he did bring that.
Is that in the garage?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay, well, it's going to be in the garage, but not the monitor.
I went to begin loading the computer up, and she prevented me from leaving.
Fine.
The house.
Were you loading up the monitor, too?
No.
No.
I hadn't gotten to the monitor yet.
But you were going to?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What is the amount left on the timeshare?
According to this, to remove my name states a zero balance.
I don't understand what that means.
It means
Are you playing with me?
No, ma'am.
And later today,
Was there anything else that you could have done other than jump on the roof?
No, I just jumped. I'm afraid of dogs. I jumped.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Raina Short says ex-fiancé Gerald King owes for breaking a lease and for half the cost of a wedding.
So, only your things. Listen to me. Your things. The computer, that's going to be in here because that belongs to you, not the monitor.
Okay.
Not the monitor. The rest of the things you have to go get. But, listen to me. You have to go get them 5 days from today. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you do not go to get them 5 days from today, I am giving her permission to call the Salvation Army and dump all your stuff. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because she's not your storage unit. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Now, that takes care of your things. Speak not. Speak not. He's not paying the wedding expenses.
No, that's not what this is about.
What do you want?
The timeshare.
No, he gets a chance to speak first.
Oh, I apologize.
Now, I'm getting to the part of your counterclaim where you're talking about the timeshare. I want you to explain that to me, sir.
Okay, the timeshare was it's called World Mark. It's an agreement that allows us to have points to be able to spend to stay at different locations around the United States and in the Pacific.
Good.
We had approximately a year and a half ago signed the agreement with both of our signatures on it for the total amount that has now come down to $7,821.
$7,821.
And 90 cents.
Yes.
Half of that would be approximately, well, will be exactly $3,910.
Just a minute, divided
95
by
cents.
2. Yes, go ahead.
First off, I have the agreement here.
Okay, no. Did you sign that agreement?
Yes, ma'am, I sure did.
Okay. You acknowledge that you're obligated to pay $3,910?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because I have made all the payments to date out of a direct withdrawal from my account. I have also got the documentation here to take my name off of it. It was purchased as for our honeymoon and for us as a family to utilize. If I'm not able to use it for my honeymoon or as a family, I have no need for the property.
Well, neither does he.
He's moved in with another person who has a family whom he is sharing things with.
But neither does he.
But
has he used the timeshare? Have you
neither
used
of us have.
Yeah,
And
but
I
you're
have taken my name off of it.
Well, you can't. You can't.
And the fact
Ms.
that
Short, you can't take your name off of it. That's just like him saying to me, I'm not living in the apartment anymore. I'm taking my name off the lease. That's what I've done. I called the landlord and I said to the landlord, take my name off the lease because I'm not living there anymore. Then we all wouldn't be here.
I'm also the one that has made all of the payments so far.
You made them together as a unit. The two of you signed a contract for a timeshare. You cannot unilaterally take your name off that contract to his detriment, and he cannot unilaterally take his name off the lease that he signed to your detriment. That's it. I don't get into who paid for more and who paid for less as far as gas and eating out and ice cream and entertainment.
That wasn't what I was addressing, ma'am.
Yes, you were. You were saying the household expenses were $3,400 and he didn't even pay 50% of it. And what I'm saying to you is that was your financial arrangement. Your financial arrangement was he would give you a certain amount of money, you would put it in your checking account, and you would pay the household bills. And one of the bills that you paid out of your checking account was the timeshare. Ms. Short, you don't like the answer, but unfortunately, that's the answer. There are two contracts. One's for a lease, one's for a timeshare. Each of them are obligated under those two contracts. What's left under the timeshare, unless there is a different amount left under the timeshare, is there?
Yes.
Okay, good. So what is the amount left on the timeshare?
According to this, to remove my name states a zero balance.
I don't understand what that means.
It means
Are you playing with me?
No, ma'am.
Mr. King, $2,400 is what you owe her for rent. And the court will draft an order that she is to pay 1/2 of the remaining balance on the timeshare contract directly to the company and that her check for $2,400 will be held until the clerk ascertains what exactly is left. Now, if in fact the amount remaining is greater than the $2,400, as you seem to indicate it is, that amount will be deducted from the $2,400, and that amount will be given over to the timeshare company. Does that sound reasonable to you, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
That way, everybody is bound by the terms of their contract. Does that sound fair?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Goodbye.
Please excuse me. Step out.
Struck up a relationship with this other person
I knew how she would react,
6 months before he walked out,
and I wanted a chance to be able to tell the kids goodbye,
still telling me all along that we were still going to get married.
and I knew I would not get a chance to.
If you have doubts, trust your doubts.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Eagles versus Adams. Step forward, please.
Hairdresser Kealunda Eagles is suing her daughter's friend, 19-year-old Latoy Adams, for damaging her car when she jumped on the roof. Latoy says she was being chased by a dog.
Miss Adams, according to what I've read in Miss Eagle's complaint, you were playing outside with the plaintiff's son. Is that right?
That's right.
And at some point, something happened, and you jumped on the hood of her car.
Correct.
When did that happen?
When I heard a dog chasing me.
You heard a dog chasing you?
Yep, I heard a dog barking from behind me. I assumed it was running after me and Nathan, who was playing.
So Nathan ran away?
Yes, and I jumped on the hood of Kia's car.
And you damaged it?
Yes.
She wants you to pay for it?
She told me I didn't have to. After I suggested I pay for it, she said she wasn't materialistic and I didn't have to pay for a car.
Is that right?
Yes, I didn't really press the issue. I supposed to sell the car, and when they saw the car, they no longer wanted it because it's over $2,000 damage done to the car.
Of course, if the roof of the car is dented, it's going to reduce the value, but did you tell her she didn't have to pay for it?
Well, I had mentioned it to her. I told her don't worry about it at the time. Then I called her and I told her that I was supposed to sell the car, and they won't accept it like that, and so I told her that she had to pay for it. So
How much after the incident did you tell her she had to pay for it?
Probably about 2 weeks.
Okay, you have a picture of the car?
I sure do.
Let me see. What kind of car was it?
It's a 97 Ford Taurus.
Where is it now?
It's at the hotel.
So you're still driving it?
Yes.
Not as bad as I thought it would be.
Those are just the pictures. There's a lot of waves on top of the roof. There's plenty of waves there.
Okay.
It's very noticeable when you're on it.
When did you purchase the car?
About 2 years ago.
And how much did you pay for the car when you purchased it?
We'll say $7,200.
Now, you said you were going to sell the car. Why were you selling it?
Because I want a new vehicle.
And how much were you going to receive from the car, from the purchaser?
Well, I guess he would say like maybe $4,000 towards a new vehicle.
Were you trading the car in? Is that what you were going to be doing?
Exactly.
You were trading it in?
Yes.
Now, you have an estimate to fix the roof?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please? How do you pronounce your first name?
Latoy.
How old are you?
19.
Latoy, was there anything else that you could have done other than jump on the roof?
No, I just jumped. I'm afraid of dogs. I jumped.
What is this estimate for?
That's for them. They're going to cut out the top of the roof of the car, and they have to replace it with another roof and do other things to it.
When you took the car back to the company when you were going to get a new car, how much did they say they would give you for the car as it was?
Well, after he told me that he couldn't take it like that, I just began to get mad, and I just said, forget it. And then I took it to some appraisers to tell me how much the damage is. And then after I got it fixed, I was going to take it back.
So what do you think?
I feel that in LA I could get it done cheaper if I was to do it.
Well, did you tell her that?
Yes. After I was served papers, I did suggest that, and it was negative. So
what do you mean it was negative?
She said that she has someone that does her car for her on a regular basis when something's wrong with it. And
who is that?
That's affordable repairs.
Is that one of the estimates that you have here?
Yeah, that's the main one. That's the one I take my cars to.
Look, I don't think anybody thinks that this was her fault, that the dog ran out. But it was her fault that she chose to jump up on your car when there were other alternatives.
The dog started to chase after both of them. She ran one way and Nathan ran another way. They were halfway down the street before she jumped on my car. But maybe in her head, she's thinking he's still chasing her.
There was a fear.
Okay.
There was a fear. But it's not your fault.
No, it's not.
And the defendant had other options. The defendant has to take care of this damage. Do you have any insurance on the car?
I had other options.
You had other options.
All right.
He didn't jump up on a car, did he?
Nope.
Why don't you run the same direction he ran in?
We were running the same direction. I took 2 steps and leaped on top of a car.
He didn't. Dog didn't get you, did it?
Mm-mm.
All right. I don't think that there's any fault or blame here. You just didn't exercise good judgment. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,873. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Why don't you sit down, young man? Mr. McClure, this is your former wife,
Yes, Your Honor.
and this is your son
Yes, Your Honor.
that you had together.
Correct.
You have one child together?
Yes, only one.
And how long are you divorced, Mr. McClure?
Approximately a year and a half.
When you were divorced, where did your son live?
Initially lived with my wife.
For how long?
Approximately 2 years.
Okay, and then came to live with you.
Yes, as of the end of July of this year.
Both you and your son are plaintiffs in this case. I'm going to hear from you first, and then your son and I are going to have a discussion. Your son came to you in July. You were under a court order for support. The support order was for how much a month?
$677 a month.
Your suit claims that that money was taken out of your salary for the month that your son was with you, and so therefore you've overpaid child support.
Correct, until we could get the paperwork in on the modified divorce order.
Mrs. McClure, you do not deny the fact that he overpaid the $677 for that month.
No, ma'am.
So what's the issue? Why don't you return it?
He had continually told me that I was to spend every single dime of child support on Camden.
That's not true.
Shh. She's giving me her reason.
I just did. I knew that it was an overpayment.
Well, if you knew it was an overpayment, you did the wrong thing.
But
and if you did the wrong thing, you have to pay him.
I also tried to pay him back.
No, according to you, try to pay him back $10 a week. Or $20 a week. And that's unacceptable, because it would be unacceptable, Ms. McClure, if you were the recipient of child support in the amount of $600 and change a month, and he decided he's not going to pay you the $600 a month. He's going to give it to you in dribs and drabs of $20 a month, and he'll catch up when he wants to catch up. That would be unacceptable to you. It's unacceptable to him, because he had the responsibility of supporting the child during that month, and you have the responsibility of paying him back the money. You should have sent it back as soon as you got it. We understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
So your claim is for $677?
$624 and change.
$624. Just saved yourself $50, Mrs. McClure. That's what you're entitled to, and that's what you're going to get. Understood?
Yes.
Now you can stand up. What's your first name?
Camden.
Why did you go and live with your father, Camden?
The living experience with my mother wasn't a very likely.
How old are you?
16.
So you lived with your mother for 16 years. You mean all of a sudden it became an unpleasant experience?
Yes.
In what regard, sir?
I wanted to spend more time with my father, so I was wanting to go live with him.
That's perfectly acceptable.
Then when I informed her of it, progressively our relationship just got worse.
Well, that's unfortunate. But your desire to go to live with your father, according to you, was just because you wanted to spend more time with your father. Is that right?
Yes.
You have a problem with that, Mrs. McClure?
Only for the fact that several months before that, we had discussed him going to live with Brian, and he said that he did not want to under any circumstances, and he actually wanted me to promise to him that if Brian sued for custody, that I would not go along with it, I would go to court.
Changed his mind. Listen to me. Let's say that happened. He changed his mind. And that's what kids do when they're 16 years old. So when they're 16 years old, what you're supposed to do is say, listen, you want to go live with your father? Free. I'm free. Right? I don't have to worry about where he is. I don't have to worry about him coming home. I don't have to clean up after his mess in the bathroom. You don't have to fight with him over cutting his hair. You don't have to do anything. He's with his father. It's his father's grief. I mean, I understand this. I was in family court for a lot of years. You get hurt. You get a little wounded. It's a natural phenomenon that you get a little wounded. But, you know, what I'm telling you is, for the first time in your life, as an adult, you're going to be free. If nothing else, I'm going to make you feel good about that, because it's not anything that reflects on your parenting. He had a wind that went through his brain. Today, I want to go live with my father. We can pal around together. We're going to be buddies. I want to bond with him a little bit. Terrific. You have other children, sir?
I live with my current wife, and we do have a 5-year-old daughter together.
Great! Now you got 2 kids to worry about.
Yes.
You are the man. Good
Oh, it's
for you.
fun.
Definitely. Good for you. Okay, now Camden. Yes. This is why your father has included you in this lawsuit, because you're a minor. Now, you had use of a car when you were living with your mother. The car was her car because it was in the judgment of divorce, according to what I read, she got that car. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. And according to your mother, she put in a lot of money in the car to make it drivable, and you drove that car. And according to you, you put in some money also. You put in, I don't know, rims and the things that kids put in cars, right?
Actually, I made it runnable.
Mr. McClure, I don't want to hear you encouraging him at all. Do we
Okay.
understand each other?
Yes, Your Honor.
This isn't supposed to be a bad thing for him. This is supposed to be a good thing for him.
Yes, it is.
That he's come to live with you, he's got a mother, she loves him, he's supposed to love her, not be angry with her. I'm a little angry with you for including him in this lawsuit, for even permitting it to go forward without saying to him, Camden, you're wrong, this is your mom's car. I got a car when we got a divorce, she got a car when we got a divorce, this is her car, it's not your car. That's what you should have done.
If I may, Your Honor.
Yes?
The car was purchased approximately when Camden was 12 years old, and everybody in the family was under the understanding...
I don't care what the understanding was. You were living with your wife at the time?
Correct.
All right. Listen to me very carefully, sir. Now you're divorced, and in the judgment of divorce, she got the car. Did you take a car?
I took a vehicle, yes, and she
Good.
received this vehicle.
And if she got one car and you got another car, then what you do is you want your son to have a car, give him your car if he comes to live with you. Don't say to him, that was your car. Everybody understood it was going to be your car when you turned 16.
That's correct,
How many
Your
cars
Honor.
did you give her? 2 cars or 1?
2?
2.
Yes.
From you?
Yes.
Tell me.
87 Buick Riviera and the 86 Pontiac Trans Am.
And what did you get?
An 86 Trans Am and my 93 Chevy pickup.
So you did a little bit better
I,
by about 5-6 years.
yeah, the only vehicle that I had payments on was the pickup.
Listen to me. You did a little better.
Yes, I did fine.
So now you have 2 cars, and she has 2 cars. And if your son comes to live with you, give him one of your cars.
He currently has his own vehicle, Your Honor.
Perfect. Then why are we here, Camden?
Because some of the parts that I put on that car to make it runnable, so I worked for those and installed them.
And you used the car.
Yes.
Did you pay for the car?
No.
Did you pay to have the repairs done on the car other than the few parts that you put in?
All the repairs that were done were by myself.
You put in all the repairs since you're 12 years old?
Me and my father. Then.
I'm talking about you. It's not your car, it's your mother's car. She let you drive it. You don't belong here suing her. We understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You are the custodian for his money, and you can't take it out.
I didn't necessarily spend it. Camden did.
And later today,
The cop pulled me over. I had a 12-pack, but there was only 6 of them left.
Was inside your belly, inside your little tummy? 6-pack?
Yes.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 16-year-old Camden McClure says his mother, Gay McClure, owes for the value of car parts and for closing his savings account.
Now, let's talk about this bank account that you claim your mother closed out and took your money. How much money was in this bank account?
$528.
And where did you get it from?
Working for my grandfather, yard sales, things like that.
When was the account closed?
August 25th in 2003.
Did you put any money into that account allegedly after August of 2003?
No.
Well, you were still living with your mother then?
Yes.
Tell me what happened with that account in 2003.
I do not know. She said that she closed the account.
You closed the account in August 2003. Why?
Because we lived way out of town. And when he needed money for, you know, the church group or whatever activities that he wanted to go, if he didn't happen to tell me the day before, I didn't have the money on hand. So he either didn't get to go or, you know, I'd have to go all the way back into town to take the money out of the bank.
Why didn't you pay for it?
I did on a lot of things.
You should have paid for it on everything. Do you work?
No.
Well, how do you support yourself?
I was on public assistance.
Did you know that your mother was receiving public assistance?
Yes, ma'am.
Were there things that you needed that you didn't have money for?
A few things, nothing too important.
Like what?
Just daily necessities. Sometimes it was hard.
So is it possible that this money got used up?
Possibly.
Did you know that your mother was going to the bank to take this money out in small amounts when you needed the money? Did she say, we'll go to your bank account and take out the money?
No, I didn't.
You
Yes,
sure
he
about
did.
that?
Yes, he did, and it was even under his suggestion, Mom, why don't you just close the account, have the money here at the house, so you don't have to worry about running all the way back into town and running back when he would want money for
Did that
something.
sound familiar to you, Camden?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Camden says that he worked.
Yes.
And he put his money into that bank account.
Yes, he did. I also put money in there that he did not, per se, work for, but yes.
She didn't put any money that I didn't work for in there.
Can I see the transactions from the savings account, please?
Back over there.
Sorry, sir.
Okay. This money was originally opened with $300. The only money that was put in was $227 after your mother put it in. So, Camden, my question to you is it possible, sir, that that's the extent of the money that you put in this account, $227?
That bank was opened here in Boise, and most of the money I made was when we still lived in Twin Falls. So that's why there's a $300 deposit.
Well, that's the beginning balance.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Ms. McClure, let me tell you this. There's no question that this car is your car. I'm dismissing that part of your son's lawsuit that deals with that car. I do, however, think that he has a legitimate complaint with regard to the savings account that was in his name where he put his money. This is his money. You are the custodian for his money, and you can't take it out and spend it unless you're prepared to show me exactly what you spent it on.
I didn't necessarily spend it. Camden did.
All right. On your lawsuit, sir, I am awarding you the $528.85 for the money that's in the account. I hope that that satisfies you. I want you to be a smart boy.
Thank you.
Just because you decided to live with your father doesn't mean that you don't have a mother anymore. I've already explained to her that she should be the second happiest person in this room today because she has a little bit of freedom, and she should use that to get herself together, to get a job, to start taking care of herself, which she clearly hasn't done in a very long time. That's her responsibility. She doesn't have any children at home. She doesn't have any reason why she can't get a job and work.
I have one.
Well, it's been a long time coming. It is time now for you to take care of yourself and nobody else to take care of you. You owe your former husband $624 and your son $528. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I love him very much. I always will, no matter what he says or does. That's just the way it is.
I just thought, fair is fair. You should at least try to straighten things out.
And as far as Camden and I are concerned, that's only up to Camden.
I'm not sure. That's for time to be told.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Thomas McMillan versus Chrisley, step forward, please.
Trisha Thomas and her fiancé Wesley McMillan are suing former friend Billy Chrisley for causing them to be ticketed for the possession of marijuana.
According to what I read, you were traveling in two cars, leaving Texas on your way to Arkansas because of Hurricane Rita.
Yes, ma'am.
You were traveling behind Miss Thomas.
Yes, ma'am.
In the car that you were traveling in was Mr. McMillan, one of Miss Thomas's children.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Thomas was traveling in front of you, and in your car was another one of your children?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chrisley, you were pulled over by the police
Yes, ma'am.
for tailgating.
Yes, ma'am.
What did the policeman say to you?
Well, he pulled me over for tailgating. That's what he told me he pulled me over for.
In what state were you when you
In
got pulled
Oklahoma.
over? Oklahoma.
We were on our way back.
Go ahead.
So he pulled us over. He asked me for my license, registration, and all that for the car. And I told him I didn't have my license, and I just got the car, so I didn't have no insurance, no registration, no nothing on it, because I just got it.
Well, what about your license?
It was expired, and I still had to leave to go to Arkansas, and I just drove back,
Could we move on, please? What else did the police officer say to you?
So he ran my record and everything else. Then he asked me if I had anything, and I told him yes. And so he went back to my...
Well, you said yes, and he said what?
No, we just went back to my car. I gave him what I had.
Well, what did you have?
I just had maybe a joint and a half.
Of marijuana?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you have it?
In my center console.
Where'd you get it from?
I brought it from home.
Had you used it while you were in Arkansas?
Yes, ma'am.
And you only had a little bit left?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, so now, against that backdrop, Officer Byrd, the police officer gave him a ticket and also gave Mr. McMillan a ticket because under the laws in the state of Oklahoma, if there's marijuana or drugs in the car, everybody's responsible. So everybody gets a ticket. So Mr. McMillan got a ticket, and Miss Thomas over here had to pay the ticket, or else she was leaving Mr. McMillan in
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. And she wanted him home because it looks to me as if you're expecting?
Yes, ma'am.
How wonderful.
Tricia Thomas and fiancé Wesley McMillan say former friend Billy Chrisley caused them to be cited for possession of marijuana.
So, since you had to come up with this money because of his personal use of marijuana, you really feel as if he should take care of the ticket.
Correct.
I don't think I should because I already admitted up to my own stuff.
But why is it his fault?
Well, I don't see why the cop gave him a ticket for my stuff. I already gave it to him.
Because that's the law in Oklahoma. I haven't seen that law, but I must assume in Oklahoma, if you are an adult and you are apprehended or stopped in a car and there is contraband, you know what that is? You know, bad stuff, contraband?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody in the car is responsible.
Okay.
That's the law. So your suggestion that he sue the cop really doesn't make sense. Now, if you said to me, look, he shared the marijuana with me, he smoked the marijuana in Arkansas, he knew it was there because we both used it together.
Well, we did.
Did you?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, where did you do that?
While we were up there.
In Arkansas?
Yes, ma'am.
Really? You sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Mr. McMillan.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I've been clean from every drug and alcohol for over 6 months and still going.
Well, sometimes there's a little bit of stress, Mr. McMillan, when you're escaping a hurricane.
Nope.
Because of the stress, he started smoking cigarettes again.
That was it.
Where were you in Arkansas, sir, when he was smoking this marijuana with you?
We were at the person's house that we were staying at. We just walked around the woods.
No, ma'am. The only time that me and Mr. Crisply ever took a walk, we went to the woods. There was nothing ever done. We ran down the side of a mountain and came back up, and that was it.
Now, when was your license suspended?
It was suspended in about, I think, 2002.
For what?
My dad gave me the keys to his truck so to give back to my mom. And when the cop pulled me over, they searched me, and all I had in there was, I had a 12-pack, but there was only 6 of them left. But when they searched the truck, they found a little baby roach that was in a film case that was in the truck, which I didn't know was there.
More drugs and alcohol.
Well, the alcohol was mine.
Was inside your belly, inside your little tummy? 6-pack?
Yes.
So you lost your license because of drugs and alcohol?
No, it was just the drugs. They didn't charge me with alcohol.
Just the drugs. How'd you come up with the $940 to pay your ticket?
My ticket was $1,261.
Well, how'd you come up with $1,261
I had to borrow it from my mom, and I'm still paying her back. They had to use their house note to pay for that fine. And by the time it added all up, it was $1,343.
You want to know something?
Yes, ma'am.
I believe him. I believe that Mr. McMillan knew that he had marijuana.
I didn't know he had it in the car.
I know you didn't, but Mr. McMillan did, and I believe he used it with him. Now, that certainly would indicate to me that he bore some responsibility for this marijuana being in the car. So I suggest you get your money from him. And while the defendant acknowledges that this was his marijuana, everything else he's told me, I believe. He's not making up this stuff because he's certainly not making himself look too good, right? You understand that I don't think you look like a model citizen.
Which I know I'm not.
We know you're not.
Yes, ma'am.
But I believe you when you say that he was smoking marijuana with you in Arkansas. You are telling me the truth, aren't you, sir? I believe you. So that being the case, Mr. McMillan, you pay your own ticket, and I suggest you reimburse your fiancé for the ticket. You knew the stuff was there. You enjoyed it while you were in Arkansas. You got to pay the piper. Case dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step Burnley versus Belluccio. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Burnley, according to what I've read, the defendant was your former fiancée. She lived with you for a period of time. You claim that she owes you for 2 things. First, for rent for several months that she lived there and she didn't pay you rent. And second, for a credit card loan that you paid off for her and that she agreed to repay. The defendant says that while she was there was not an agreement for rent, that in quite the opposite, she was really treated more like a maid than anything else. She cooked and cleaned and took care of you and your children and the house. And in addition, while she does acknowledge that there was a loan for her credit card debt that she had, she says that she agreed to leave certain items at the house when she left that more than cover the balance of the loan, some of which she had already paid to you. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Burnley, when did you start to date Ms. Belluccio?
February of 1998.
And in February of, because I've read these papers very carefully, in February of 1998, sir, you were married.
Yes.
And how old were you?
36.
And how old was Ms. Belluccio?
19.
Is that right?
I was 18.
And where did you meet her?
I work.
What kind of work did you do?
It's a convenience store.
What were you doing at the convenience store?
I was her boss.
So you were her boss. She was 18 years old. She was going to school?
Yes.
College?
Yes.
And she was working besides, going to school full time?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had you been separated from your wife?
10 years almost.
Are you divorced now?
No, not yet.
Why not?
Long story. She was supposed to pay for the divorce.
I have time, sir.
Okay.
And it's a long story,
Yeah.
but I guarantee it's not
It was
such
a matter
long
of
story.
principle that she would, when we had split up, she had taken all the furniture and stuff like that, and she was supposed to pay for a divorce, and she never did.
Stubborn sucker, aren't you?
Yes.
You have children?
Yes.
How old are they?
11 and 12.
Now, when did Miss Belluccio move in with you?
July of 1999.
And did you become engaged at that time?
No.
When did you become engaged?
I do not remember approximately. She asked me to marry her first, and at that time I said that I believe she should be at least 25 before she gets married, so she knows what she's getting into.
And did you ever change your story?
I asked her to marry me a couple of years later.
Did you give her a ring?
Yes.
And you're still not divorced?
Correct.
How did you plan to carry that out, sir?
I procrastinate, but I believed that I would have it done before we would get married.
That's usually the way things go.
Right.
I want you to tell me about this rent that you claim she owes you.
In July of '99, I purchased a home. I did not believe it was a good idea for her to move in at that time, but it happened that way. The agreement was, though, that at that time the living expenses cost $800.
What were the living expenses?
Well, the mortgage was $550, electric, phone, stuff like that. They came to approximately $800. She did agree to pay $400, which
Why would she pay off your mortgage? Was the house in her name?
I wouldn't call it paying my mortgage. It was half the living expenses.
She was living with you, and I assume sharing your bed. Right?
Correct.
Who took care of the chores around the house?
She did.
Didn't you think you were a little old for her, Mr. Burnley?
Yes.
Didn't you think that a guy who's 36 years old and married should have nothing to do with an 18-year-old girl who's working, going to school, trying to do the right thing? She want to get hooked up with you for? You can't even get yourself off the horse after 10 years.
She told me age didn't matter to her.
She told you
She
age
told me
didn't
that.
matter. She's
Yeah.
18 years old. You're a grown man. Age matters. There are a lot of things that matter that people say don't matter. They matter. It is your statement that you did not have an agreement with him for rent. Is that right?
There was no formal agreement. There were times when we did say, give what you can. There were times when Stephen had 2 roommates where he didn't expect a penny from me. And then there were times we actually did, in September of 2003, have a formal rent agreement.
Okay. What was your agreement?
That I would pay him $300 and that I would pay for groceries.
Okay, and when did you move out?
November of 2003, at the end.
Okay, so for 3 months.
Correct. I always contributed to the household, whether it be projects or whether it be, I paid for all the groceries. There may have been 1 month in the 4 years that we lived together that Stephen bought groceries. But I did all the household chores and I assisted him with several projects. I have pictures of his whole house has been changed. I paid for a lot of those things.
Like what?
Painting. I helped him paint. We did the whole back patio and I paid for several flowers to go in the ground, at least $250 a summer. I paid for flowers, and several of those flowers have come back.
So you treated the house as if it was going to be your home.
That is what Stephen told me at all times, that he offered one of the roommates money, $7 per hour, to help him work on a project. And I questioned, why aren't you offering me money to help you work on these projects? And he said to me that half of this will be yours someday.
I'm listening.
That part's not true about putting in flowers. I always had told her, don't put flowers in, you can't afford it, you're going to school. She'd also bought clothes for my children, which I told her not to do.
So she was a nice person
Yes.
when you were
Yes,
together.
she did a lot.
Tried to hold up her end of the financial bargain while you were
Right,
together,
right.
and then some.
That's correct, which I told her all along.
So why are you here suing her for rent?
Principal.
Someone who proposes marriage to a girl half his age while he's still married shouldn't talk about principle.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You lived together for how many years? 4. Get over it.
And later today,
Your mother never said to you, don't worry, it's a gift. Right?
Right, but she did say, don't worry.
Oh, did you ever hear the expression, beauty fades, dumb is forever?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stephen Burley says ex-fiancée Courtney Belluccio owes for a loan to pay off a credit card. Courtney says Stephen is still legally married.
Now let's get to the credit card.
April 10th, 2003. I was not aware at that moment. She came to me and told me that she had a credit card that she had, I don't know if it was maxed out, but it was very high interest. It was killing her paying the payments. So I decided to take a bank offer loan that I'd had and pay off that credit card, and it was at 2%.
How much did you give her to pay off the credit?
$5,176.
And how much did she pay back? How much did you pay back?
I paid back $3,890.
And you claim that you don't owe anything on this because why?
When I moved out in November of the end of November 2003, I told Stephen when I was leaving that I'm going to leave some things behind. If I'm going to write my estimated value next to it, I'd like you to write what you feel is a fair value next to it, and we'll agree upon a value, and we'll take that off the balance. And he agreed.
Can I please see the list that you prepared of the things that you left behind? Well, let me tell you this. Some of this is nonsense. A bicycle. Now that's $100. Kitchen table and 4 chairs.
Sits in the basement. Told her she could take it. Would she need it?
2 dining room chairs.
In my basement.
You have any use for these things?
No.
You can go get these things because he doesn't want them, but you don't get credit for them. Okay. You agree to pay it back. The money, you owe him $1,500. That's all. Your lawsuit, sir, is seeking over $3,000. I think you're a little out of line. I think you're out of line with the rent. I don't think that you had an agreement other than the defendant has already acknowledged that is an agreement for 3 months. I believe her when she says she paid you the rent for the 3 months, September, October, November. That's it. You lived together for how many years?
4.
4 years? Get over this list. Get over it, unless you want any of this stuff. If you want any of this stuff, it's in his basement. I'll make an order that you can go pick it up. Do you want it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. She's going to come and pick up all this junk within 5 days of the date of this hearing, and she owes you $1,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think his real motivation is that he's simply angry with me.
I procrastinate a lot, so she probably figured I wouldn't try to collect it.
We had just completely grown apart. We wanted different things on a daily basis from life.
I was just in no hurry to get married again, I guess.
It was all on principle. He was planning on getting a divorce, and ironically, after I left, he initiated one.
And now the next case.
All parties in a matter of power versus power. Step forward, please.
Homemaker Mary Power is suing her daughter, administrative assistant Catherine Power, for the cost of a cruise from New York to Canada.
Ms. Power, this is your daughter.
Yes, it is.
And I gather from reading your petition that at this point in your lives you're not happy with each other.
No, we're not.
So this is what the case is about. Your family was planning to go away on a cruise together, so I assume you all got along. You have children?
Yes.
How many?
2.
And they were going on the cruise also?
Yes.
How many of your brothers and sisters were going?
2. 2 sisters.
And Mrs. Power, what you tell me in your petition is that your daughter paid for the cruise, and then the cruise company went bankrupt.
Correct.
And everybody was really disappointed, and according to what you tell me, I read, you made arrangements for a second cruise.
Correct.
And since the refund hadn't come back yet, you paid for the second cruise.
Correct.
And your daughter didn't pay you back when she got the refund.
Correct.
She says that the second cruise was a gift.
Absolutely not.
That's your defense. Is that right?
Yeah.
When were you planning to go on this cruise, Miss Power?
The first cruise on Regal Cruises, we were going June 29th of 2003.
And where were you going?
We were going from New York to Canada.
Kathy, how much did you pay for that cruise for you and your 2 children? Was it 3 people going?
I paid $906, but that wasn't a full total.
When did you pay that money?
Throughout January to May of 2003.
Great. When were you advised, Miss Power, that the cruise was canceled?
I was advised in May of 2003.
And did you rebook another cruise?
Yes, I did.
For the same period of time?
For the same period of time, just one day earlier, we were going to leave than previously planned.
And was that a more expensive cruise?
A few $100s more.
So what happened? You went on the cruise in June?
We went on the cruise. We had a great time. I got a refund back in February of 2004.
Did you call your daughter and ask her if she had gotten a refund back?
Yes, I was very excited I got my refund, but she didn't seem to be as excited. And she just called me up a few days later, and she said to me, now she didn't say she got her check back. She said that when she gets her check back, she'd like to use it to go to Florida on another vacation. And I said, absolutely no. I want my money back.
And she said?
And she said that no, she wasn't giving it back to me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mary Power says her daughter, Catherine Power, owes for a cruise from New York to Canada. Catherine says she's a struggling single mom, and the cruise was a gift.
Give me your version of the events that led to your belief that this was a gift to you.
The first cruise that we had purchased, actually my mom called me and said, would you like to go on a cruise and I'll help pay for it. And then she ended up paying for my sister Karen's part, but didn't help me. So I was still paying for it because I wanted to go. So I just went on about my time and got a phone call when I was at work, and she said I purchased a new cruise. So I was like, well, Mom, I don't have money. And nothing came up about the refund check. I don't have the money to pay for it. She goes, don't worry, it's a gift. So that's how I took it as.
Kathy,
But
your mother never said to you, don't worry, it's a gift.
She said, don't worry.
I know that she didn't say, don't worry, it's a gift, and you know she didn't say, don't worry, it's a gift. Right?
Right, but she did say, don't worry. She didn't say it was a gift, but she said not to worry.
Right. She didn't say it was a gift. How did I know that?
Because people don't say that. They just...
Because if it doesn't sound right, it's not true.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened, Miss Power, when you got back your refund from the cruise line in February.
She said she paid for the cruise and that I was supposed to pay her back. And that was not my point of it. It was...
Well, was your point of it? Was your point of it that...
She bought a trip for the family. It was the last family trip. She felt that everyone should go on it because my father was sick and she wanted us all together. That's what it was.
Then, Kathy, would you explain to me, if that's your rationalization for keeping the money, why is it that you testified earlier that from February until May, you were paying the travel agent, and you paid the travel agent $906 if your mother had already said to you, I want to take the family away on a trip? And what I think happened that really annoyed you is that your mother, according to you, chose to pay for one of your sisters to go and didn't choose to pay for you. Because you've already mentioned that once, and that, I would say, might fry you a little bit. But let me understand why your mother decided to pay for one sister and not you. You want to explain that to me?
Yes. When my daughter, Kathy, had my grandson, she had to take some leave off from work. She was on maternity leave. And during that time, my husband, Bill, and I helped her with her rent and her car payments to keep her going. And I did ask her at that time to pay me back, but she did not.
Okay, just a second. So, did your parents help you?
They came up to the house when I had Liam and watched Emerald, my daughter, and then she helped me with diapers and stuff.
So you decided to pay for Karen,
right,
to make it even with your children?
Right.
Okay. How much was the total cost of your trip, Madam? $1,206?
It was $1,806 altogether, and then minus $500 for my sister.
$1,306.
Okay, $1,306. $1,306 is what you intended to pay. Is that right?
Correct.
Mrs. Power, even if you decided to go on a little bit more expensive cruise, I assume you would be perfectly happy if you got $1,306 back from your daughter. If she said to you, listen, I don't have the extra money, but here's the $1,306 that I was intending to pay for the first one. I'm going to give that back to you.
I would have been happy.
And that would have been right, Kathy.
No.
That would have been right, Kathy.
Nope.
Listen to me. You have to stop relying on other people to take care of the problems that you create. You create certain problems. You created a lifestyle for yourself. And it seems to me from listening to your mother, who's pretty rational lady, that you have relied on other people to take care of the problems that you create. And when you listen to me, and when you turn 30, you just told me that. You just told me a moment ago that your parents came to watch your daughter when your son was born.
Correct.
And gave you a little bit of money, a little bit of help. Well, that means relying on other people for problems that you create.
They didn't have to come.
Oh, listen to me. Listen to me. Did you ever hear the expression, beauty fades, dumb is forever? Huh? Mm-hmm. All right. That's all I'm going to say. You owe your mother $1,306. That is the cost of the trip that you had originally said that you were going to take care of. You got a refund for most of it. You should have turned that refund over to your mother by signing over the check to her and saying, thanks for covering the balance. She would have been ecstatic that you did the right thing. You chose to do the wrong thing. And you can't, at your age, do the wrong thing. First of all, it sets a bad example for your children, and that's primarily why you can't do the wrong thing. Because you're supposed to set a perfect example for your children, and then you're not supposed to make your mother come and sue you. Don't say anything. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,300.
In the matter of Harrington versus Badman. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Harrington, according to the complaint that I read, you and the defendant were in a relationship and lived together for a period of time. When you moved in together, you took some of your stuff and put it in a storage unit. The storage unit was in Mr. Badman's name.
That's right.
And he paid for it.
No.
That's what he says. There came a time when the two of you parted company, a day that you will tell me about briefly, and it is your claim that he got rid of the stuff in your storage unit, which you wanted back. Mr. Badman acknowledges that he emptied the storage unit. Some of your stuff he gave to the Salvation Army. Some of your furniture he still has. And the reason he did that was that when you moved out, you took a substantial amount of property that did not belong to you, that belonged to him and to his daughter, and he has a counterclaim. How long did you live together?
He moved in with me in February of 2004. He had a dog, and I had a dog, and I was only allowed one dog at my apartment complex. Therefore, he moved into his own place, and about a few weeks after him living there, he begged me to move in, told me how much cheaper it would be.
Just listen to me.
Okay.
This is not a 1,000-page tome that we're going to do here. When did you move in together?
May of 2004.
And when did you put your property in storage?
The end of May, I believe.
The day she moved in. There wasn't room in my apartment for many of the
What
things.
did you put in storage?
I put living room furniture, dishes. My parents had started collecting teddy bears for me when I was a child. A futon, a bed, clothes, shoes, dresser, desk combination, a glass mirror, and my diploma, important tax information papers, all sorts of things.
And when did you separate?
July 25th. 2004.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding your moving out.
I had found out that he had been cheating on me with her. That is his baby's mother. We were going to court for custody of his child, me and him together, and I found out that he was cheating on me. I came home from work early, asked him, you know, why are you doing this? Can we please talk about this? He then shoved me into a dresser, and I dislocated my finger. The police then told him that he should leave the apartment for a few days while I got my things together. Within those 3 days, he came back and broke in his own door, busted the lock off, and I moved out the very next day because I wasn't safe living there with no lock on the door. I took the things that belonged to me and only me. The only thing that I have of him are some pornography tapes that I did not bring with me because of the security on the airplane, and I didn't want them flashing about. They're kind of disgusting.
What'd you take them for?
They were actually in a box of movies of mine.
When did you try to get your property back?
Right after I moved out, I went to the storage unit to see. I had a key to it because my things were in it. I did pay for it, and he had changed the locks.
Now I'll hear you, sir.
No, when we did break up, it was because of we were arguing about, she was accusing me of fooling around with her. We were just friends. We've always stayed friends because we have a child in common. So I didn't want to argue, so I left the home. She called the police. She went down there. She decided she didn't want to charge say anything because she told the police that I beat her up or whatever. So then we went to the police station.
You did. You broke my
anything. She did not file the report.
Harrington.
Anything. She said.
Don't say anything when he's testifying. You know how quiet he was when you were telling me your story? I read your complaint very carefully. You came home and you wanted to talk to him. That's what
Correct.
you said in your complaint.
Correct.
He was sleeping.
No, he was up.
It says, I'm reading from your complaint, things were going terribly for us, and he was served with an eviction notice. On July 25th, not June, on July 25th, 2004, everything came to a head. We were in an argument. I came home from work to talk to Fred. He was sleeping, and I tried to get him to talk to me. That's what you said.
Okay, that's fine.
And when you want to talk to somebody and they're sleeping and they don't want to communicate with you, you get angry.
No, I was not angry.
You weren't angry.
No, I was not.
No, you weren't angry.
I was upset.
You were living with somebody. You think he was fooling around with the mother of his child. According to you, you came home, you found him sleeping, you went in there and he didn't want to talk to you. And so he broke your finger.
He did.
Miss Harrington, I have no question that your finger got broken. I don't think he broke it.
He wrote it in his report to the police. I actually have it.
Oh,
if
I'd
you'd
like to see that.
it.
He said he broke your finger. I'd like to see that.
Yes, it
I
does say that.
squeezed her hand. And that was after she went and punched the wall
It's
about 20
highlighted in
times
yellow.
around her. On the report, it says that there's no injuries to anybody. She didn't report any injuries to the police.
No,
right
there were none marked.
I just wanted her to leave me alone. April started to poke me on the right side of my body with her finger. I told her to leave me alone. She continued to poke me with her finger, saying, stop being a blank jerk and talk to me. You know, you live long enough, you could practically write the scenario. I want to talk to you. Leave me alone. I just want to sleep. I don't want to talk to you. Now. Leave me alone. I want to talk to you. Then you say, I rolled over and grabbed her hand. I cannot remember which I had grabbed, but it was her bad hand, and she started crying. April asked me why I grabbed her like that, and I said, because you keep poking me.
I wasn't poking him. I really wanted to talk about it. I was very upset.
Listen to me. I got it. You just told me you weren't upset.
I would no.
No, listen to me. A moment ago, you said I came home from work. I just wanted to talk. I wasn't upset. Listen to me, Miss Harrington.
Your Honor, I wasn't angry. I was very upset. I was crying, hurt. I was not angry.
Then what I'm telling you is, you upset, angry, whatever it was, you can't put your hands on somebody like this. And if they don't like it, which she said, you gave me the report. So you want to vouch for the truth of this report.
No, just
the part that you like.
No, that's not true. If
Just
you
the
read
part-
my
listen,
statement also.
I'm reading his statement. That's what you gave me.
If you keep reading it, he also pushed me in the face and kicked me off the bed. And
listen to me. He wanted you to leave him alone.
So it's okay if he kicks me and...
You shouldn't have put your hands on him. Miss Harrington, you put your hands on
I wasn't hurting him. I was...
Listen to me. You can't put your hands on somebody and continue to irritate them and expect them to do nothing.
That's fine.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He gave them to me willingly.
No, I don't believe that. Madam, you just said to me, that's a fib. Fib, because you just said to me I took him out of spite.
And later today,
What else did you do with the car?
I let April drive it.
And April wrecked the car.
Yes.
You don't mind my yelling at him, do you?
No, ma'am.
Yes.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. April Harrington says former live-in boyfriend Fred Badman sold her belongings after she moved out. Fred is countersuing, claiming April also stole from him.
What property of hers did you give away to the Salvation Army?
Things I gave away of hers, I went and retrieved all the stuff from the storage unit because I didn't want to pay
What
anymore
month
on
did
it.
you do that?
February 05, ma'am.
So you left it there for 6 months?
Many months I left it there.
She asked you for the stuff back.
I wanted my items back before I was going to give her anything. That's what I told her.
What items were they?
She took my entertainment stand, a bunch of movies.
Just a second. Entertainment stand. What does that look like, sir?
It's right here. And a tent. That's what I got pictures of.
I need a cup of coffee.
An entertainment stand, some movies.
Okay. I mean, this entertainment stand, did you put it together yourself?
Yes,
or
I did.
You put it together yourself?
Yes, I bought from an appliance store years ago.
$69, you put it all together?
No, it was $300. It's a large entertainment stand.
I'm looking at it, sir. I got it.
Okay.
Let us say she took the entertainment stand. And she took... Did you take his tent?
No, I did not.
Did you take his entertainment stand?
He gave that to me because where he was moving had a big screen TV and he no longer needed it.
Big screen TV.
What else do you say she took of yours, sir?
She took my fishing tackle box, some PlayStation 1 video games. I don't know why she would have took my Jack, but Jack wasn't at my house no more. And she took my daughter's clothing and toys. Because when we were living together, we went out together, bought clothing and toys and many things for my daughter's birthday when she turned 1. And when she moved out, she figured I bought them, I'm taking them myself. So she took all the things that we bought together for my daughter.
All the things that she paid for?
Correct.
Good.
We paid
Now,
for
listen to me. All the things that you paid for.
Correct.
Listen to me, Ms. Harrington. You may have paid for them, but once you make a gift, then they no longer belong to you.
Okay, I actually bought them because we were going to custody for the child.
I don't care. They were not, the clothes didn't fit you.
Correct.
The toys weren't for you to play with. And once you purchase something and give it away, the gift is complete. You no longer have ties to it. You cannot take it. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
So that was wrong.
I know that was wrong.
So why didn't you give them back?
I took them out of spite, actually, honestly, and I did not give them back because we didn't talk anymore after that. He no longer, he wouldn't give me my things out of the storage unit. And
did he ask you for his daughter's
No,
things
he
back?
never, he gave them to me willingly.
No, I don't believe that. Madam, you just said to me, that's a fib, because you just said to me, I took them out of spite.
Ma'am,
listen to me, you can't have it both ways.
I asked them for them back out of spite, yes, and he did give them to me willingly. I went to his new house.
Sounds to me
after
like
he
you
moved.
two people did a lot of nasty things to each other.
Very true.
But, Mr. Badman, you cannot dispose of her property.
I kept.
You can go to court and seek to recoup your $29.99 TV stand, or if you say your tent, which she says she doesn't have, that you can do. But you cannot give away her property.
I kept the important things, Your Honor. I kept all of her.
Oh, good. That's what I want to see. What important things that you kept?
I kept all of the furniture that she had, and I kept important documents like her taxes that she's been wanting.
Good.
And
I'd like to see all of those
her
things, sir.
GED papers.
Perfect. Oh, this is going
Would
to
you
be
like my
such a-
list also?
I'm speaking.
Okay.
And it's all junk, Your Honor.
So you have all of it?
Yes, I
In
have
your
all that.
house?
It's at my aunt's house.
It looks like it's in a barn.
It is. So I wasn't going to keep paying $85 a month for stuff.
You should have given it back to her.
I didn't want to do that when she's kept all my stuff.
You're a big baby, Mr. Badman. You're a baby.
All right.
Yeah, you're a baby. 5 days from today, she's going to pick up all of her properties to be put together in good order.
The place where my things are at, there are 13 cats, and the house itself and the barn itself is absolutely covered in feces
It's not true,
and
Your
urine.
Honor.
Miss Harrington, this is your choice. The property has been in Mr. Badman's possession now for over a year.
Correct.
You had a choice. Your choice was to immediately pursue him in court, just as you did now, a
He
month
told me
later.
he
Listen
sold
to
it.
me. A month later, and get your stuff.
He told me he sold it.
Well, then what brought you here a year later? Is not an answer.
He started leaving notes in my car, like trying to get in contact with me, so I went to see him, and he told me he sold them.
And I'm telling you, what you did was you waited for a year to pursue a matter in court, and now if you don't like the way the stuff has been, you're not going to get the cash for it. Okay. Now I want you to tell me what you gave to Salvation Army.
I gave 2 Rubbermaid bins of clothing that was all moldy and gross from sitting around forever. The little box of ceramic dishes that she had, a few of them items were broke, so I had to throw them in the garbage, and a little bag of teddy bears that were just junk, and that was it.
Mr. Badman, that junk is going to cost you $1,000.
For dishes?
They weren't broken when she left them, and the clothes weren't moldy when she left them, and the teddy bears were a collection of hers, and you had no right to dispose of them. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Now, what proof do you have that she took any of your property?
I don't really have proof of anything because when I've broken up with girls before, I've dealt with them stealing like a couple things, and I just wanted to move on with my life.
You mean this has happened to you before?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
A couple.
You're very unlucky in love. Are you together now with the mother of your child?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
You live together?
She's my fiance. She's going to be married soon.
Oh, wonderful. So, did a little bit
Getting my
backwards,
life
but
all straightened out, and everything's good, and just want to be with my child and get all this over with.
Very good. My complaint against Ms. Harrington is a complaint that I can put on your shoulders as well, sir. You had a legal remedy, right?
I didn't choose to do anything.
You chose to do nothing.
Right.
And you have no proof that she took anything.
And she has no proof of what was in the storage unit either. Yeah.
Listen to me.
Of the few
Listen to
items
me.
that she does
You
have.
just told me what it was that you, as far as I'm concerned, maliciously gave away, including something that she says was a teddy bear collection that she had for a very long time, and you said it was a bunch of junk teddy bears. It's not nice. That's irritating. You told me that. She didn't. I wouldn't even look at her list. I asked you what you gave to Salvation Army. So your counterclaim's dismissed. 5 days from today, she's going to pick up all of her stuff. And you owe her $1,000 for the stuff that you gave away wrongfully. That's all. Step out.
Thank you very much.
Please excuse you, may step out.
She was fun. I made a mistake, and I didn't think of other things, anything else other than what was in my pants.
We've been friends for 5 years. We've been together 4.5 years. We're getting married. He never cheated. He never cheated on her.
Don't get involved with people with the last name Badman.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Wamsley versus Martinez. Step forward.
19-year-old Preston Wamsley is suing neighbor Audrey Martinez and her son, 17-year-old Chris Rivera, for the cost of a Mitsubishi Eclipse. Preston claims Chris totaled the vehicle.
You and the defendants are neighbors. This is her son, who is
Christopher Rivera.
17.
Yes.
And this is your mother. At some point, Christopher came to your house and asked if he could borrow your car. You knew he was 17.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is not an answer in court. Is fine outside here. You
Yes, Your
say
Honor.
yes, no, whatever. Your Honor is a nice touch. He said he needed your car so he could take his sister to school.
Yes.
But that was a partial truth. You know what that means?
I'm not sure.
It means it was only partially true, half true. A little piece of it was true. Some of it was a lie. You didn't just want to take your sister to school. You did something else with the car, right?
Yes.
What else did you do with the car?
I gave my cousin a ride home.
And after you gave your cousin a ride home, then what else did you do with the car?
And I let April drive it.
Who's April?
Some girl.
Was she in the car?
Yes.
I didn't get that part of the story. How did April get into the car?
Because she was with my cousin.
How old is April?
17, I believe.
I want you to keep your voice up. You don't mind my yelling at him, do you?
No, ma'am.
Yes. And April wrecked the car.
Yes.
So, Mr. Wamsley, you expect Mrs. Martinez to pay for your car.
Yeah, and I was under the impression that he had a license.
I don't care whether you thought he had a license to drive race cars or drive a ship to the moon. You have no right to loan a car to a minor. None. Now, I read your complaint and you said, well, you thought he had a license because you saw him driving around in his mother's car.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Well,
Your
his
Honor.
mother wants to be a jerk and let him drive around in her car. That's her prerogative and her problem. But how do you know that his mother gave him permission to drive around in her car? Maybe he was just driving around in it when she wasn't home. Is that possible?
It could be, yes.
Sure. Does your son have a driver's license?
No, ma'am.
You ever give him permission to drive your car?
No.
You drive your mother's car?
Yes.
Where's your mother when you drive her car?
At home.
Does she know you drive her car?
No.
See what I mean? As a matter of fact, if he was injured while in your car that you let him borrow, she would sue you and would have collected. Do you understand? When you're dealing with a minor, and he's a minor, he's a stupid minor, and he's dishonest, right?
Yes.
You do not do anything that would require parental permission, because when you talk in terms of minors, they are referred to as minors in the law because they're too stupid to make their own judgments. He's too stupid to make his own judgment. And you gave him a weapon. Was April hurt?
No, ma'am.
Anybody hurt?
No, ma'am.
You are a very lucky man, sir. You should go home and thank your lucky stars that somebody isn't suing you and taking your house away. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. 5:56 on the calendar in the matter of Tillinghast versus Stott. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
How old are you, Tony?
20.
And you?
21.
You two gals had been friends and decided to take an apartment together. According to your complaint, the defendant owes you some money because you leased this apartment and she moved out early, didn't pay the rent for 3 months. The defendant says that her boyfriend settled with you. She's got a counterclaim. She said that your friends destroyed a mattress of hers. What prompted you to take an apartment together?
We've been best friends all our lives. We live next door to each other. I wanted to get out of my parents, and she wanted to move out to hide her relationship with her boyfriend over there.
That's you?
Yes.
Okay, how old are you?
59. 60. I just turned 60 yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You have children?
Yes.
How old?
35 and 37.
When did you lease this apartment?
In the end of May.
And how long was the lease?
6 months.
What was the rent?
$965.
So far, is all of that correct?
Yes.
You thought your parents wouldn't like the idea of going out with this gentleman?
Correct.
They think he was a little too old for you?
Correct.
When did you move out?
August 27th, 2004.
Why?
The plaintiff here, which Tony, she had her friends over. They were drinking, smoking pot, drinking beer. There was condoms on the floor, and one of her friends had threatened me, so I called the police and I moved out.
One of her friends had threatened you with what?
Verbally threatened, and also picked up a pen and acting like she was going to.
That's not true.
Just a second. When did this happen?
The night of August 27th.
What was the argument about?
The argument was about her friends and her all over my belongings, trashing some of my stuff that I had.
Were you spending every day at the apartment?
No.
You were spending most of the time at your boyfriend's home?
Yes.
So you were really just paying the rent for this apartment as a beard?
Yes.
Are you living together now?
Yes.
Have your parents accepted that?
No. They know about it, but no, they have not.
Did you give her any money for the remaining 3 months on the lease?
I gave her $400 in, I believe it was...
When?
September.
After you left?
Correct. And then another $400 in October.
Why?
Because the day was August 28th. It was a Saturday. After her friend had threatened to throw the manager off the balcony, again, the police were called. And when I moved out, there was a verbal agreement between her and I and my boyfriend that said we will pay you $400 this month and $400 next month to make a total of $800.
Are you still living in the apartment?
No.
When did you leave?
I left right after the lease because I couldn't afford it and my bills were past due.
Tell me about your friends in the apartment. Do they spend a lot of time in the apartment, Tony?
I have my witness, Ashley. She was in the apartment quite often because she was not doing well with her father, so she was there a lot.
Interesting. Come on up. Talk to me. You're Ashley?
Yes.
You were spending a great deal of time in the apartment? Mm-hmm. How many days? 5 days a week?
At least.
And where did you sleep?
In her bed.
Whose bed?
Tawny's bed.
Tawny's bed. And where did she sleep?
She slept in her bed also.
Did you pay rent?
No.
After the defendant moved out, did you continue to go there 5 days a week?
No.
Why not?
I was looking for a job over at my dad's house.
When did you stop going over there 5 days a week?
Right after all the mattress incident happened.
You mean right after August 27th?
Yeah.
That's miraculous. So you mean right after all of this happened, you stopped going over there 5 days a week?
Well, because the manager didn't want people over there that wasn't paying rent, and they said that you couldn't be over there more than 72 hours.
She didn't want any conflict, so I just stayed there by myself most of the time and just went out when I wanted to be with my friends.
What were you doing at that time? Go to school?
No, I just do housework and clean up at her house. She'd go to work and I'd stay there and do all the chores and laundry and clean.
We had planned.
What, are you kidding me or what? How old are you?
18.
You get over on this baloney with your family? Huh?
No.
So what makes you think you're going to get over with this baloney on me? I mean, you think that they hire me because I'm stupid? No. You think that they pay me all this money because I'm an idiot? You want me to believe that you're a house cleaner in her house. Is that what you want me to believe?
That's what I do.
What? That's what you do?
Yeah.
No, she just stayed with me. She was trying to look for a job, and in the morning she'd clean up, and help me out.
What?
She was helping me out by.
Are you a big slob? Why should you? You're one person. You're one person. Why should you need to have a brigade of people to take care of you?
I was just helping her out because she needed a job and she couldn't stay with her dad, so she stayed with me a lot.
Right. That wasn't the arrangement, Tawny, my dear. The arrangement with her is it's her apartment and yours. You want her to pay half the rent. You pay half the rent. The two of you live there, not the two of you and anybody that you feel sorry for. So for half the time that she was paying rent and not living there, she was living there. And then miraculously, the smarty pants says that the day after this incident, when she left, she all of a sudden decided she could stay at home with her parents.
She actually went and stayed with her grandma for a while.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're talking to your parents?
Yes.
Great. Keep that open. That's the one constant that you have.
And later today,
He got very angry because I wasn't interested in dating him. He threatened my job. He threatened my life. He said, I know where you work. I know where you live. And I hung up the phone on him.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tawny Tillinghast says her former best friend, Tiffany Stott, owes for breaking a lease. Tiffany says Tawny's partying forced her out.
She paid you. She came home. She found things going on there that she didn't like, people living there that weren't supposed to be living there, and she was gracious enough to pay you for 2 months, or a substantial part of it for 2 months, and she wasn't there at all.
She was never there to begin with.
I got it. I got it. That's why you had the apartment to yourself. You could invite anybody who you wanted to come on over and live there, which you did. So she was very nice to you. You should have started to advertise immediately when she moved out to get a new roommate. Did you do that?
I tried to see if any of my friends...
Did you advertise for a new roommate?
It was only a one bedroom. No one wants to share a one bedroom.
Okay. Now, are you pursuing your counterclaim for the ruined mattress?
I don't need to. Once she brought this upon me, I figured I might as well bring something upon her.
Well, by bringing it upon her, you're also visiting it upon Bird and me. You don't want to do that, do you?
No.
Perfect. What do you do?
I'm an office manager.
You're talking to your parents?
Yes.
Great. Keep that open. That's the one constant that you have. Okay?
Okay.
Good. You withdrawing your claim for the mattress?
Yes.
Perfect. And your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
This girl is my best friend since I've known her forever. She let some 60-year-old man change her into someone she was not.
I remember telling Tiffany, I said, watch it because Tawny is kind of wild.
Pot, smoking.
I did party. What can you say? I'm like a regular 20-year-old. I'm not like a 20-year-old dating a 60-year-old man.
She was arrested at Mervyn's for stealing merchandise, and she was ordered to pay.
She used to be sweet. Now she calls me and yells and harasses me on the phone with him whispering in the background, telling her what to say, you know.
Tawny said she had changed. That's fine. But obviously she hadn't changed.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Haynes versus Lang. Step forward, please.
County Inspector Douglas Haynes is suing his former friend, event coordinator Kimberly Lang, for the return of furniture he loaned her. Kimberly claims Douglas gave her the furniture.
Mr. Haynes, you and the defendant had a friendship, according to what I read. You met at a car dealership and you had dinner a couple of times. And it is your claim that you loaned the defendant some furniture that you had because you were doing some remodeling in your house or garage. And you now want the furniture back.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lang says that you never loaned her this furniture. You said that you were getting rid of it, but you'd like to have it. She said yes. She did in fact take the furniture because she was new to the area and didn't have any furniture that she had brought with her. That it was not a loan, but a gift. First, show me the furniture that you allegedly loaned to her. I see two people, one with a beard and a shirt open, and one lady with glasses on.
Those are my previous neighbors, and that's the stereo cabinet behind them.
And then we have a brass bed.
Yes.
Okay. Two dressers, I see. What about this sofa? You want this back?
No, it's 23 years old.
Looks as if it was 23 years old. How long did you know Miss Lang before you loaned her this furniture?
Approximately 1 month.
And tell me the circumstances surrounding your loaning her the furniture.
Well, I'm putting an addition on my garage plus a room on top, and there was some heavy beams I had to remove. I didn't want to damage it, so I was going to put it in storage, and Kimberly didn't have any furniture yet. So I mentioned that, well, if she can store it for me and use it, then that would help me out. And on January 2nd, we delivered the furniture, but I noticed that she already had 2 dressers, and then we had some disagreements, and
Could you look at me?
Oh, okay. We had some disagreements, and we were going to meet for breakfast.
Could you look at me? Straight on. I mean, I don't want to embarrass you if you have something wrong with your neck. I just want you to look over here so I can tell what your eyes are telling me in addition to what your mouth is telling me, Mr. Haynes.
Okay. And on January 13th, we were going to meet for breakfast.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't show up, and it upset me. So I went over to see her, and I decided that I didn't want any more to do with the relationship, and I called her up and said, I don't want to do this anymore. May I have my furniture back? And she did call me on the 17th and said I could not have the furniture back, that I made a big mistake and I blew it, and also that I'd have to take her to court to get the furniture back.
Who is this person?
This is my sister, and she had 2 conversations with Kimberly when we were delivering the furniture.
Okay, step up. Tell me your name.
Sandra Haynes.
Who delivered the furniture to Miss Lang?
My brother and Kimberly both.
What did you have to do with it?
Doug was telling me, with Kimberly there, that Kimberly had agreed to store his furniture, and it was a convenient situation because she had no furniture, and so it kind of helped them both out.
Okay. That's it?
That's it. They didn't stay that long.
Do you have any other conversation with her?
Yes, I did.
When?
I believe after she got back from Los Angeles on the 17th. I called her because she had let Doug know that day that he was not getting back his furniture. So I asked Kimberly, why aren't you giving my brother back his furniture? And she said that she was angry at Doug. Doug was angry at her. She got her parents involved. They didn't want her having anything to do with him, and it was out of her hands. Number 2, yes, this was payback time. She had to get back at my brother because of breaking.
Don't tell me breaking up. I'm not interested.
Yes.
I just want to know what she said to you and what you said to her.
That's the conversation. And I said, I do not understand. Why can't we just come over and pick up the furniture? It has sentimental value. It's my parents' old wedding set.
And she said?
She said she'd think about it.
Okay, good. Thank you. Now I'll hear you.
Okay. I had met Doug 2 times prior to that date at the car dealership that I worked at. He was a customer. He had subsequently made a phone call to me that he had some furniture that he needed to get rid of, and he knew from our previous conversation that I had an empty apartment and that my stuff was in storage in Orange County. Asked me if I'd be interested in coming by and taking a look at the furniture because he needed to get rid of it. He was doing this remodel. I went by there. It was either the 31st or the 1st of December or January 1st. Looked at the furniture. The next day was when he actually delivered it to my place. I did drop by his sister's house, yes, and met her for the first time, but I was quite surprised that Doug had already explained to her the arrangement that was made with the furniture because she seemed to know what was going on. The furniture was not a loan, it was actually a gift. And so I wasn't at liberty to explain to her what was going on, but I was quite surprised that she understood what was going on.
Just a second. She suggested to you that the furniture was a loan or a gift?
No. She stated, so my brother delivered the furniture this morning, yes. And how does it look, and did you set it up, and so forth. And I explained to her at the time we did set up the bed. At that point, it was pouring rain. We had a mattress in the back of Doug's truck that was being delivered to my parents. I was sleeping on the floor on a mattress. So we stopped by her house on the way to my parents to drop off that mattress. I didn't hear from Doug again until the 17th of January. I got back from Orange County, there was a message on my machine, and at that point was when he asked me to dinner. I refused to have dinner with him, and I was not interested in dating Doug. He got very angry because I wasn't interested in dating him, and he started demanding his furniture back. I don't know why he was getting upset with me at that point. He threatened my job, he threatened my life. He says, I know where you work, I know where you live. This is going to escalate, and he made some threats, and I hung up the phone on him. That's when his sister called me.
Miss Lang, yes. You sound like an intelligent lady.
Thank you.
He sounds, according to you, like a nut.
Yes.
And the only nexus that you had to this nut was these pieces of furniture that you had had for 15 days.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So if I were being a smart person, I would say to myself, miscommunication, it was a gift and now he wants it back, but he's a real nut and he's threatening me. Douglas, get a police officer, get your truck, come over and get your furniture. We now have nothing to do with each other. There is no reason for you to call me. There's no reason for you to have anything to do with me. That's what a smart person says.
Under normal circumstances?
Not a stupid person who says, now I'm dealing with a nut. And I have furniture that I've had for 2 weeks. Furniture that belonged to your parents may have some sentimental value to you, sir. It's junk. I mean, I've looked at it. It's junk. The only thing that looks anywhere that somebody might want to keep is this brass bed. And I may not be a furniture maven, but I have a pretty good eye. The only value that bedroom set has is sentimental value, because other than that, it has no value. Now,
Your Honor, I do have. When I went to Orange County, when I rented a pickup truck, and I do have a receipt here that shows when I actually picked up the truck and when I actually returned it, there was furniture that I left behind because now I had an apartment full of furniture. I now had 2 dressers, a bed, a coffee table, a couch. There were things that I left behind in storage. So when
are you telling me, Ms. Lang, that the couch you left behind was not as nice?
No, I didn't have...
Just a second. The couch that you left behind was not as nice as this couch? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That's not what I'm saying. I did not have a couch in storage.
Right. I mean, I was a little confused. Give him back his furniture. Now!
Thank you.
And say, I'm going to borrow that mattress from my parents again if I have to have a mattress to sleep on. But I don't want Mr. Haynes in my life. I don't want his sister in my life. I don't want this nut calling my job. I just want it over. And I'm going to give him back his parents' furniture so he can put his underwear in it, and give him back his brass bed so he can sleep on it. And I don't want to have anything to do with me anymore. Is that fine, Douglas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect.
Sean, this is case number 231 on the calendar in the matter of Kubas versus Arlene. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Miss Arlene, are you a licensed hypnotherapist?
I'm a certified hypnotherapist, yes.
Certified. Is that what they do?
Yes, there's not a license for hypnotherapy in this state.
Is that the state of California?
The state of California, yes.
And how long have you been a certified hypnotherapist?
For 9 years, Your Honor.
According to what I've read in your complaint, Ms. Kubas, you sought the defendant's services in order to help you stop smoking.
That's correct.
And you are suing her because not only didn't you stop smoking, but you say that she should be responsible for other stress that she put you through because of some vision that she had while she was treating you. Where did you find Miss Arlene?
I found her out of the Yellow Pages, Your Honor.
How long have you been a smoker?
Probably 45 years.
So you figured it was time you stopped?
My sister died of cancer last year, and I desperately wanted to quit. And so I discussed it with my husband about going to see a hypnotherapist because I had been under so much stress and wanted to quit so badly that out of sheer desperation I called this ad in the paper.
Do you have a copy of the ad?
Yes, out of the... Yes, I do. I explained to her my situation, and she told me that it was $295 and that she was 95% effective. The other 5% is usually people that smoke 3 to 4 packs a day. So I felt pretty secure in going to her, and she said, I have an appointment open at 12:30. This was at 11 o'clock. She said, can you be here? I live 50 miles away, but yes, I did go. And when I got there, I asked her how long had she been a hypnotherapist. She said 8 years. After this discussion, she asked me if I wanted to go ahead with it, and I said yes. So she proceeded to hypnotize me, and during this hypnotizing thing, the only thing she said pertaining to smoking was, when I want a cigarette, say to myself, I think I want a cigarette, but not now. Maybe later. Instead, I'll have a handful of grapes. Well, Your Honor, I ate so many grapes, I was having other problems.
Just a second. Just a second. She never promised you anything other than to stop smoking.
She promised me I wouldn't gain weight.
No. But anyway, she told me after this session, she told me I had to give up Dr. Pepper, sugar, cream, milk, and I drank lots of water. I have a list of the things she told me to take.
Just a second. What date was that, by the way?
That was on July 12th.
Okay, so on July 12th you went there and you were smoking up until the time you got to her office, I assume.
Yes.
When you left her office on July 12th, you tell me that you ate a lot of grapes the next day.
Oh, yes.
But you didn't smoke.
Yes, I did smoke, Your Honor.
How much did you smoke the next day?
I smoked maybe 6 or 8 cigarettes.
Which is a lot less than you would smoke previously.
Yes, but
Okay. When were you supposed to go back?
I was to go back Wednesday on the 13th or 14th. I was to go back July 14th.
So skip a day. Did you go back on the 14th?
Yes, I did.
What happened when you went back on the 14th?
I had complained to her about my bladder hurting me, and I had told her that I was still smoking. And she said it was probably the toxins emptying out of my body that was bothering my bladder. And she told me that I looked scattered. And I said, it's because I'm still smoking and I'm upset. And she says, well, it's going to take more than the 2 sessions and it'll take a week. She said, give me a chance. So she calmed me down and took me back and did the same thing almost that she did the first session. So I left there feeling a little more calmer, and I was to go back the following day on a Thursday. And when I got there that time, Your Honor, we went back to the therapy room, and the first thing she did was ask me if I knew of anyone with a man with an oval face, a beard, long hair, and lots of wrinkles. And I said, no. And she said, well, could it have been your deceased son? And I said, no, my son was young and he didn't have a beard. And she said, well, I didn't get a real good look, but she said it may have just had a mustache, because I told her my son had a mustache. The day before, she did something to me during hypnosis, of doing something with her hands. I didn't quite understand what it was. She said she realized that she had not done my feet, so she went back to do my feet. And she said when she went to do my feet, she turned and she saw this image that she had described to me, grimacing and cringing in my solar plexus.
In your stomach?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And she said she wasn't going to tell me, but she talked to her psychic daughter, and her daughter said she felt like she should discuss this with me. Well, before the last session, she asked me if it was possible during this hypnosis session if we communicated with this entity. And I said, well, sure. I mean, I felt, what the heck's going on? I said, what could it be? So during hypnosis, she would tap me on the forehead, and she'd say, now ask this person who they are and why they're here. So I said, who are you and why you're here? And no answer. And she tapped me again for this person to answer me. And this just went on, tapping me. So at the end, I asked him, would he go away or something like that. I couldn't remember it all, but when I came out, she said, well, he did say he would go away. So we got up, the session was over. I was sort of dazed, and I even hugged her and invited her to my home. And then when I got to my truck, I just sat there for a while, and I was thinking, my God, I'm possessed.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There are some people that believe in these psychic sightings and some people that don't.
It frightened me.
I've never had that happen to me.
And later today,
He threw Mrs. Yeager's son up in the air, and he didn't catch him. And he fell and broke both arms.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Frida Cuba says hypnotherapist Donna Arlene failed at getting her to quit smoking. She wants her money back.
Ms. Cubas, what is it that you are suing Miss Arlene for?
Originally, Your Honor, I asked her for a refund so I could go to another hypnotist, someone that would hypnotize me to stop smoking and not do psychic things to me.
And what did she say?
I wasn't the one that asked her for the refund. My husband did.
You asked her for the refund?
Yes, I.
When did you call her, Mr. Cubas?
I believe I called her on the 21st of July, Your Honor.
Tell me about your conversation.
I explained to her that Frida was very upset and very frightened by the prognosis that she had given about the entity that was in her solar plexus. And I told her we didn't believe in that kind of thing. And I told her that I felt that Frida was entitled to a refund.
And what did she say to you?
She then said, look, I don't give refunds.
Okay. All right, Ms. Harley, I don't believe that based upon the fact that Ms. Cubas may still be smoking, that she is entitled to her money back. She didn't guarantee you that you would stop smoking. She said there's a 95% chance. Well, you may fit into that 5%. Certainly, those people that use gum, patches, pills, all the things that you can get by either prescription or over the counter, if they were 100% effective, then nobody in this country should or probably would be smoking. But the truth of the matter is, some people are successful with them and some people are not. It depends upon a lot of variables. The only question that I have is, you signed on for hypnotherapy to stop smoking. I want you to get to this vision.
Okay. On the second session when Frida came in, we did the session, and many times if I feel a person is troubled or there's negative energy around them, I do a clearance with my hands just of the energy around them before they leave. So I did that. I just brought my hands just to clear the energy around them. Okay? So I just did the clearing the energy, and as I came down to the end and went to brush away from her feet, I saw this entity. It just was, what I saw was just a circle with a man's face that looked grimacing. And it kind of surprised me because I've never had that happen to me. So when I went home that evening, I explained it to my daughter who has psychic abilities. And I just said, you know, something happened today and I'm concerned about it. So I explained to her what I saw, and she goes, I wonder why they would choose to show you that there. And I said, I don't know. And she goes, well, maybe you can help her by telling her, but ask her a couple of questions first. Ask her if she's been having a lot of pain in her solar plexus. Before that, when we first had the consultation, she had shared with me that she had used a psychic over the internet before, and we had talked about being an open spirit. So I asked her these questions, and then I told her, I said, I saw something, and I'm a little reluctant to say anything to you, but since we've talked about this before, I thought maybe it might help you if I shared it with you. It's up to you. And she goes, well, sure. Go ahead. We're both spiritual people. And I said, okay. So I explained to her what I'd seen, and I said, you know, I can't tell you anything about it because it's never happened to me before. I don't know. And
you weren't at that point, and certainly Ms. Cubas doesn't suggest at that point that you were using this as a ploy to get you to become a steady psychic customer.
I'm not sure of that, Your Honor. She did tell me I could come back.
That's different. Did she or did she not, Ms. Cubas, say to you, this has never happened to me before?
I don't remember her saying that because she frightened me so badly.
Okay. You did, Ms. Cubas, however, tell me that she asked you whether you wanted her to share with you this vision that she had had, and you said yes.
Yes, that's correct.
And you also, according to you, when you left, hugged her. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is it that makes you suggest, I mean, there are some people that believe in these psychic sightings and some people that don't. I can't put myself into the head of either one of those groups. But what is it that suggests to you that Miss Arlene was a charlatan?
Because I did not go to her for psychic treatment or that. I went to her to stop smoking. Not once during that session did she say anything to me about not smoking except to eat the grapes when I felt like not having a cigarette. Nothing was ever suggested to me to quit smoking or any suggestions or anything. When she told me about this psychic thing, she said, do you know anyone with an oval face, wrinkles, long hair, and a beard? And I thought to myself,
you already told me that. That's you already told me that. Ms. Cubas, you don't have a viable lawsuit against the defendant. She is a certified hypnotherapist. She's been practicing for 8 years. That's her treatment plan. It didn't work for you. And the fact that she had this vision, I assume it was legitimate, or at least she perceived it to be legitimate. She asked you whether you wanted her to reveal it to you. You said yes. She did not follow through. I assume that she told you that Her daughter has psychic ability. She discussed it with her daughter. Her daughter said it's a good thing to share with her. She shared it with you. She asked you, I'm speaking, she asked you whether or not you wanted her to share it with you. Have you gone to another hypnotherapist since?
No.
No. Are you still smoking?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we're talking about a long time ago. How come you didn't go to somebody else?
Because it frightened me. I wanted to wait to see if I could get to find somebody reputable or that wouldn't do the psychic. Your Honor, she did not ask me anything except if I would like to communicate with this thing after she told me about it.
Ms. Cubas, 2 seconds ago you told me that you didn't remember. Now what you're telling me is you remember, and what she said to you was, do you wish me to find out what this person is, who this person is? And you said, yes.
And this was after
just
she
a
had
second. And you said, yes. You didn't say to her, no, I don't believe in that stuff. I think there's a lot of baloney. I'm here to stop smoking. You said,
yes.
Yes. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
That's one of the best ways to quit smoking.
When I wanted a cigarette, just say,
Play a better game of golf.
I think I want a cigarette.
Get rid of fears, phobias.
But not now, later.
Pass tests, do public speaking.
I think I'll have a handful of grapes.
I never told her to eat grapes.
Well, how many grapes can one person eat before they start having other problems?
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Yeager versus Sutton. Step forward, please.
Operations trainer Brenda Yeager is suing construction worker Albert Sutton for medical bills and pain and suffering on behalf of her 8-year-old son Jacob. Brenda says Jacob broke both of his arms when Albert threw him in the air and dropped him.
Hi, Mr. Sutton. I hardly know what to say to you, sir. Bird, 30 seconds or less. I assume that this is the young man who was injured. They were playing a game, some sort of a game in a park. Miss Yeager is going to tell me, what kind of game was it?
Soccer practice.
Soccer practice. And Mr. Sutton has a child?
Yes.
Who was also at the soccer practice. And during a break in the activity, Mr. Sutton was playing with the kids. He is not a bad man. He is not an evil man. He's not a malicious man. He's just, let me be kind, short-sighted. So he was throwing his son up in the air, right?
Yes.
And when he got finished throwing his son up in the air and catching him, he threw up Mrs. Yeager's son. I mean, he didn't throw up Mrs. Yeager. He threw Mrs. Yeager's son up in the air. And he didn't catch him. And he fell and broke both arms. That's what happened. Yes, ma'am. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And he was in casts, and he was out of commission for a while. When did this happen?
October 28th, 2003.
And Ms. Yeager is suing Mr. Sutton for $5,000 for both their out-of-pocket medical expenses and for pain and suffering. So now that I've given you the backdrop, because this is not difficult, the facts were not difficult, they were almost conceded by the parties, Mr. Sutton, I will hear you.
When my son had his break, he asked me to throw him up in the air. I caught him. Other kids saw it. They asked their parents if they could do it. I threw up 4 or 5 other kids before I got to Jacob. Jacob, I threw up. He pushed off my chest. I couldn't catch him or get to him as quick as possible. And that's when he fell and hit the ground. But he asked his dad for permission because my son even saw him go over and ask him and hurt him.
Did you give permission to Mr. Sutton to throw your son up in the air?
No, ma'am.
Tell me your name.
Matt Riceback.
What did you hear, Matt?
I heard Jacob walk up to his dad, and he asked his dad, he said, "Dad, could that guy throw me up?" And his dad said, "Yeah."
Okay, I like analogies. Let's say you were a very experienced archer. And what you used to do with your son was you would have him sit under a tree and put an apple on top of his head. And split the apple in 2 with your bow and arrow. And your son was used to that. And he would sit there very quietly, very still, and you thought it was okay to do that. And then Jacob said, "Oh, I want to do that." And let's say I believe your son, which I don't, that he heard him go over to his father and said, "Could I sit under a tree and let Mr. Sutton put an apple on top of my head and try to knock it off with an arrow?" And his father, in some psychotic break, said, "Sure." And Jacob sat under the tree, he put an apple on his head, Unfortunately, Jacob wasn't as good at it as your son, and he zigged. And you got him instead of the apple. Whose fault would that be? Jacob's?
No, ma'am.
His father's?
No, ma'am.
You get my point?
Mm-hmm.
Judgment for the plaintiff. And the
Morning, Judge. You may be seated.
All right, the engagement didn't work out. Why can't you two folks just, put a period and get on with your lives? Any reason? You want your engagement/wedding ring set back.
Yes, ma'am.
And you claim that the defendant also took money out of a bank account.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant wants her engagement necklace back that she gave you. She wants reimbursement for some jewelry that you pawned of hers. And she wants a return of money that she said she put in your joint bank account that you were supposed to be saving. Were you living together when you were engaged?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you give her the engagement ring?
May 11th.
Tell me the circumstances around you giving her the engagement ring. Was it a surprise?
No, ma'am. She went with me and picked out the rings and helped
She
negotiate
went to the store
price.
with you?
That's correct.
So far, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me about this engagement necklace. When did you get that?
I believe it was in April.
It was May, actually, May 3rd, that I purchased the necklace.
May 3rd. But you gave it to him before you got your engagement ring.
Yes, ma'am. It was at the jewelry store that we were going to purchase my engagement ring at.
I want you to tell me the circumstances surrounding you giving him the necklace.
Okay. We had broke up at one point, and he had pawned my wedding band from my ex-husband, his gold chain, and a Texas ring of his. He told me when I got the stuff out of the pawn that for me to go ahead and give the gold chain of his to my eldest son. So that's what I did. So whenever we were looking at jewelry there at the jewelry...
So you got the jewelry out of the pawn shop?
Yes, ma'am.
How much was it to get the jewelry out of the
$180.
So you had all the pieces of jewelry in your possession?
Yes.
Do you still?
The only thing that I still have is the necklace.
What happened to the other property?
I gave it back to him.
Including your wedding band?
No, this is my wedding band from my ex-husband.
Well, so you kept that?
Right, because that was not from him. It wasn't his.
No, I understand that, but you kept that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you kept the gold necklace?
Correct.
What kind of gold necklace is it?
It's a Figaro chain.
Can I see it, please?
And he told me to give it to my oldest son, Jeremy.
Okay.
So, in which I got it back from Jeremy.
Okay. Fine. Let's get to the necklace that you got him. Did you buy it on the day that you bought the engagement rings?
No, ma'am, because we went to another jewelry store and found something less expensive, and we purchased those, which was just a few days within one another.
How much did you pay for this necklace?
$525.
You have the receipt for it?
It's on the back of my check. They did it like if it was a credit card. And it's from North Lake Jewelers, which it says on the back.
Mm-hmm. And do you have the receipt from the engagement rings?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see them, please? Okay. Where is the necklace?
It's at home.
You want your rings back? Your rings are clearly more expensive than the necklace.
Yes, ma'am.
So why don't you give her the necklace back and she'll give you the rings back?
Well, because it was not an engagement gift. It was a gift to replace...
A gift to replace what?
Part of her story's online, but the necklace part, I didn't tell her to give it to her son until after she had already gotten it out of pawn, and I knew it was in her possession at that time. She wasn't going to give it to me anyway.
Because you were fighting at that point?
That's correct.
Yeah.
But when we got back together, I did tell her, I want my necklace, because I was afraid she had given it to somebody else.
What did you do with the money that you pawned the stuff for?
I bought groceries and stuff for her and her kids.
Is that right?
No, I don't know when he pawned it or what he did with the money.
Let me ask you this question.
I don't know.
You were living together for a period of time, for this period of time, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working? Working. And
At
you
that
tell me
moment?
where, for whom, and how much you were earning. So my question is, at the time he pawned the jewelry, were you employed?
I believe I was.
I believe you were.
The reason I say is because it's been almost a year.
Well,
So-
I want you to think back. Think back.
I was working. Yeah, I was working as a for the state of Texas. I was a boot camp drill instructor.
What were you earning?
I was earning $7.25 an hour.
How many children do you have?
I have 3.
Can't support yourself and 3 children on $7.25 an hour.
No, ma'am. My children live with their father.
So it was just the 2 of you?
And his 2 children.
Ah. So was she in fact working as a drill instructor at that point, sir?
No, she had already quit, but her kids came for visitation, and at that weekend was in between my pay periods, and we didn't have any money. And all 3 of them came, and we needed some money.
Okay, what kind of work do you do, sir?
I'm a private investigator.
So if you want these rings back, and if you want to terminate this relationship in a most agreeable and less stressful manner as possible, why don't you just give her back the necklace? She's going to give you back the rings, and then we've resolved part of this lawsuit.
Because I like the necklace.
Is it worth more than $2,500?
No, ma'am.
That's what you paid for the rings. That sounds fair to me, doesn't it?
If you feel that, I don't.
I sure do. So you're going to give her back the necklace, and she's going to give you back the rings. Then we've taken care of that. Now let's talk about the money. You say she took some money out of a bank account?
Yes, ma'am.
$600?
$662, something in that neighborhood, yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, it's my bank account, and the only money that was in that bank account was money that people had written me checks for cars or something. No money of hers ever went in that bank account.
Was it a joint bank account?
I did put her on the bank account, that's correct. But when she left, I requested the ATM cards and the credit cards.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Curtis Pritchard says ex-fiancée Betty Sestala refuses to give back his engagement ring and wedding band. Curtis also says Betty helped herself to his bank account.
I'll hear you.
Every week that I got paid, I gave Curtis my money. I worked from May 11th to August 9th.
3 months.
Yes, ma'am. I made $8,400. I didn't spend $8,000 in living expenses and stuff.
How much did you spend?
I don't know.
Well, how do I know?
Well, the reason that I say that is there's no way I could have possibly spent $8,000. I'm not a high-maintenance girl.
I don't know whether you are, whether you're not, but if you have a joint bank account and you're putting money in, and I assume you were putting money in the account?
No money went into the bank account.
What?
No, none of her pay ever went in the bank account.
Well, what happened with her $8,400? What happened with her $8,000?
She would get paid. She would give me some of her money, not all of it. She gave me some of her money. That's true.
Well, how much did she give you?
I couldn't be exactly sure, but you know, she's telling. She gave me some of her money, but I mean, it would cost $600 to $800 every time she wanted to go visit her kids, hotel, food. She'd go shopping all the time.
So it would be a fair statement that you commingled your funds.
That's
Is that
correct.
a fair
Yes, ma'am.
statement? And you're not married.
That's correct.
No, he's divorced as of yesterday.
Well, but you're not married now.
No, ma'am.
You folks cannot expect to come to court and have somebody else unravel these very intricate financial woes that you managed to get yourself into. And what I said at the start of this case was, you're 2 people, you started a relationship, it didn't work out, why can't you just put a period and move on? You clearly spent money during that 3-month period.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know whether you went to visit your children like he says you did, and he has no proof of what you spent. So I would be doing a guest job, and I don't do guest jobs.
Your Honor, the day that he kicked me out, told me to get the F out, I left walking, and I went without a dime, without any clothes but what I had on my back.
Just a second.
strange man picked me up on the side of the road, and
Listen to me. You don't get compensated for that. You've had an on-again, off-again with this man clearly for a long time.
And he's the one that's been the one that's made the money off of it, because I don't have a dime because he has it all.
Next time you should know better.
I've also sent her money when she needed it. She called me, asked me. I've got money grants where I sent her money.
Let me see.
So I mean, it's not like she. This is in addition to that $600 she took. Plus, I just gave her $2,900 just a few days ago.
On the 1st of October of this year, did he send you $200?
Yes, ma'am.
What for?
For me to, I had my children that weekend. My son had a paintball competition,
And you called him and asked him for money and he sent it?
No, I didn't call him. He called me.
So he called you and you said you needed money?
No, I didn't. He asked me if I needed any money.
Fine. So he sent you $200 on the 1st. Then I have another transfer here to you in September. The end of September for another $300. What was that for?
For just basic living expenses, because I went there without a dime.
He's not responsible for you.
No, he's not. And
He's
never
not
has
responsible.
been.
He's not a. He doesn't sound like a cad to me.
Well,
did he give you? Did he give you other? Did he give you other money just last week?
No.
Are you lying to me?
No, I'm not. I have no reason to lie about it.
Well, I think you do. In any event, I'm going to cut the following order. Mr. Pritchard, listen to me, sir. You're going to part with that great necklace. You're going to give it back to her within 5 days, and she's going to part with the rings. You have one that you're wearing now?
That's the only one that I have.
Where's the other one?
He has it.
Take the ring off. Give it to Bird.
There's other things that you're not hearing that makes him not sound like such a cad. That's not it that I couldn't sue him for here, from where he borrowed $5,000 from me, and he sold the truck that he had gotten a loan on, and I've not got that. I got $600 of that, which I have the paperwork in my purse.
Mr. Pritchard, you want her son to have this necklace, or you want it back?
No, Jeremy can have it.
Give it back to her. You're to get the engagement necklace back to her.
Yes, ma'am.
Keep it simple. That's all.
Or is that excuse? You may step out.
I don't think that it's right that a man can keep everything he earned.
Didn't go quite like I thought, but I believe she was fair.
He wasn't working, and there was no money, and I had to make a living.
We're both kind of hard-headed, I guess.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Adams versus Canham. Step forward, please.
18-year-old student Jennifer Adams is suing her former classmate, 17-year-old student Christy Canham, for breaking her ankle during a fight.
Miss Adams, according to your complaint, the defendant assaulted you, you were injured, you want to be compensated. That's what the case is about. How do you know her?
We went to grammar school and the high school together.
Where did this assault take place?
At Annie's house.
At this young lady's house?
Yeah.
When?
October 2nd, 2001.
What was the dispute about?
The dispute was over a CD, but there's more to it. In August of this year, we had a get-together also at Annie's house, where everybody had gone in the house except for Christy and my fiance. And after everyone was inside, she said something to the extent of, fiance or not, I've had guys cheat on their girlfriends with me before. So he came in the house and he told me about it and didn't do anything about it at that time. We all went to bed, and we hadn't seen each other really during this time from August to October when the incident happened. My CDs had been left at the restaurant where she works, and somebody had gone through them.
You went to the restaurant where she works?
No.
Who left the CDs at the restaurant where she works?
Her little brother had my CDs, left them at the restaurant. Somebody went through them and took out a whole bunch of CDs, but she took one and took it to Hawaii with her.
So she had one of your CDs?
Yes.
Okay.
So I went out to Annie's on October 2nd.
What did you go to Annie's for?
Because we're friends.
Was she expecting you?
It was just we go out there all the time. Nobody expects anyone.
The defendant was there?
Yes.
Did you know the defendant was going to be
No.
there? So when you walked into the house, who was present?
Annie, Jimmy, and Stephanie.
Who's Stephanie?
And she's another friend of ours.
And the defendant?
Yes.
What happened when you got there?
When I got there, I walked in the door. Christy was standing on the opposite side of the room. I asked her where my CD was. She just kind of stood there looking at me, and I said, "You heard me, where is my CD?" She said, "At my house." And I said, "Well, you better get it." And she asked why I was yelling at her. I said, because I didn't like her anyways, and her stealing my CD was the last straw. She asked me why I didn't like her. There was more arguing during this time, but when I said that I didn't like her, I said it was because she was a scandalous. And I went to walk into the kitchen, and I turned my back. She was sitting in a chair.
So she was sitting?
Yes, she was sitting. By this time, she was sitting.
Shh. Was she sitting at the time that you came in and started calling her names?
No.
She was standing?
Yes.
But then she sat down?
Yes.
Okay, so you're walking into another room, she's sitting?
Yes.
What happened next?
So I went to walk into the kitchen. I saw her out of the corner of my eye come at me, so I turned around. She went to hit me. I blocked her hit, put her in a headlock. So I had her in a headlock, and she was hitting me, and I was hitting her. She couldn't get away from me, so she turned me sideways, pushed me to the ground, snapping my ankle in 2 places. And Annie came over and pulled her off of me when she did, Christy kicked me while I was on the ground. And then Annie helped me up. I walked into their computer room because that's where Stephanie was. It was about 10 feet. And Annie came in to see if I was all right, and I said, no, you need to take me to the emergency room. I can't walk. Jimmy came and picked me up and carried me to the car. While he was carrying me to the car, she was standing on the steps of the front of their house yelling, you stupid, get back here, I'm going to kick your ass. I couldn't even stand. So Jimmy puts me in the car and we're going to the emergency room. I told Annie, I said, she hit me first. Annie goes, I know, but she's only 17.
She didn't hit you first. It's not what you just told me. It's not what you just told me at all. You said she went to hit you, and you grabbed her and put her in a headlock.
She went to hit me, and I blocked her hit. She was still coming at me, and that's why I put her in a headlock. That's not what you said to me. You said, according to you, she went to hit you, you blocked her, and put her in a headlock. That's what you just told me. And I put her in a headlock because she was still coming at me. And we were
And what did you
hitting
do
each
when you put her in a headlock?
She was hitting me, and I was hitting her.
So you had a fight?
Yes.
And you got the worst of it?
Not. She pushed me to the ground and busted my ankle.
She pushed you to the ground during the course of a fight that you started.
She came at me.
She pushed you to the ground during the course of a fight that you started.
I was walking away from the situation, and she came at me from
after you had started it.
So
if you were going to testify, is that what you would testify to? Exactly what she said? Huh?
Yes.
Perfect. Somebody's going to always get the worst of a fight. Isn't that right, Bird?
It's usually how it happens, Judge.
Usually how it happens. This time you got the worst of the fight. You walked into your friend's house and created a scene, and you didn't get any response from her the first time. You said to her, give me the blank CD. Give me the blank CD. Then, clearly, according to you, I'm not even going to her. According to you, she was standing, but then she sat down. And then you continued to call her names.
We were yelling at each other.
She didn't start yelling at you. You walked in and immediately, according to you, started to call her foul names. Right?
Yeah.
So you got a broken ankle? Huh? You got a broken ankle during the course of the fight?
Yes.
That's what happens. Suck it up. That's all.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. and Mrs. Ward, this is your daughter?
Yes, it is.
Your daughter is now 18. You turned 18 in July?
Yes.
According to your complaint, sometime before your daughter was 18, you bought a car. The car was supposed to be her car. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you claim that she owes you money for the car, which was repossessed because she didn't make payments that she was supposed to.
Exactly.
That she owes you for rent because she lived in your home after she turned 18 for a few months without paying you any rent.
Right.
And that she had an accident in the car causing some damage to the car.
Right.
Yes.
Let's start with the car. When was the car purchased?
March of last year.
And what was your arrangement with your daughter?
I purchased the car for her so she can go back and forth to school and to work.
So she was going to school?
Going to school and going to work also.
How did she do in school?
Basically, okay, C average.
Have you give you any trouble at home? I'm talking about trouble, drugs, alcohol, arrests, nothing?
No.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was one arrest. Shoplifting.
From a department store?
Targets, yes.
Okay. And nothing came of that, but that was the only problem that you had with her?
No, that was it.
So basically, she was a good kid?
Yeah.
Okay, so?
January, February, March, the car was not being paid on. You know, she always showed responsibility. She go ahead and pay the rent of the car and everything and show me the receipts. You know, and then sometimes I wouldn't even bother because long as the car, nobody called me and said, well, the car hasn't been paid on or anything, which I had never got no paperwork of that. So I just assumed everything was fine. And then all of a sudden one morning I was going to work in my own car and I went outside and the car was gone. So in the meantime, I had to go get a loan to get the car out of hock.
No, Your Honor, that's not true. She had the loan before the car got repossessed.
I'm still listening. Okay. So
Anyway, we asked my daughter when she was at the house, did she pay December, January, February? It was in March when we got the loan. She told us the receipt was in the car.
Okay.
The receipt was not in the car. Took the car out of hock. She was with us, brought the car home. Then the day of her graduation, I was dressed to go to a graduation. And she decided to get flipped with me.
What did she say?
I asked her what was taking them so long getting dressed so we could go to her graduation. She told me, it ain't none of your business what I'm doing right now. You just be calm, and I know what I'm doing. I said, you're being late. I said, I asked y'all to do this 2 hours ago.
Your Honor, that's not true.
And
just a second.
I said, you're staying in my house. I said, you're 17, you're almost graduating. I said, you're gonna make your mistakes here before you make it out in the street. So I can explain to you what's going on.
Tell me about the rent money that you want from your daughter.
Okay, the first time she left was when on the graduation day. She left out the house.
In June?
Yeah. She went by my sister's house and stayed. My sister kicked out, and I told her to come back home. That's when I told her, when she come back home, she had to pay for rent.
Had she ever paid towards the rent before?
No, she haven't.
She never had to.
She ain't never had to. I ain't never made her pay rent. But since she was being flipped with her mouth and doing things saying she was grown and she could do this, she could do that, I felt that she needed to pay rent.
So that's the rent you're talking about. How many months did she live there?
1.
2.5.
Did she ever pay you any rent?
No.
She never
And
paid
tell me
rent.
about the accident that she had.
Somebody sideswiped her.
Let me see the picture. Where is the damage to the car?
I have a picture of exactly what the damage
Can
is
I see?
right here.
Okay, thank you. That's the close-up of what you already have.
Were you in the car when somebody hit you?
I was in the car. I did not tell them they got sideswiped.
What happened?
I was driving, I was coming home from work on the freeway. This lady jumped in front of me, trying to get into my lane. I had to swerve and I hit the center divider of the freeway. I went home and I told her that I got in an accident. She didn't tell me, she told me not to go to the insurance company because our insurance would go up.
Tamika said
So Tamika said she was going to pay for it.
Yes, I did. But
And she never paid for it. She got mad again and left out the house again.
Okay, there we go. Did you agree to pay for the damage to the car?
I agreed to pay for the damage to the car when I had the car in my possession. When they took the car from me, when he kicked me out my second time, I said I wasn't going to pay for it because I didn't have the car.
Can I see the estimate for the damage, please?
Judge Judy, the only reason that she doesn't have the car because as of her birthday, it was agreed with me, herself, and the bank that she would actually pay $25 to get that car in her name. She wants the car without putting it in her name. I told her I can't do that. It's going against the bank and myself.
But yet she gives the car to my aunt.
I did not
and my
give.
aunt's driving the car.
Listen to me.
Somebody has to pay
Listen
it.
to me. You cannot make a contract with anyone under the age of 18. So the fact that you purchased this car when she was 17 and she agreed to make the payments on the car is not binding upon her. Even a parent can't make a contract with a child until they're 18 years old, until they reach their majority. With regard to rent, I never heard anybody say that your daughter agreed to pay you rent. You said if you're going to live in this house, you're going to pay rent. But in order for there to be a contract, there has to be an agreement as to the amount, that she says, yes, I will pay you rent. Do you have such an agreement?
Yes, I do, but she never signed it.
I never signed it.
Well, if she never signed it, then you don't have an agreement. As far as the damage to the car is concerned, ordinarily I wouldn't give you the damage to the car except that your daughter acknowledges that she said, I will pay for the damage to the car.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Derek and Terry Ward say Derek's daughter, Tamika Ward, owes for a car loan, car damages, and unpaid rent. Tamika says her father is being unfair.
Do you have other children?
Yes.
How many other children do you have?
We have one son.
And how old is that child?
21.
Okay, where does that child live?
Fresno State.
Doesn't live with you?
No.
So this is the baby?
Yes, the baby.
What does your son do in Fresno State?
Plays football.
And what are you doing now, Miss Ward?
Nothing right now.
Who do you live with?
My aunt.
So you're back with the aunt?
Yeah.
Same aunt that you were living with before?
Yeah.
What?
I still want her, if she wants the car, it still says July the 15th she was supposed to, if she only has to pay $25, she can have the car.
She doesn't want the car. Right? If she wants the car, she can have the car.
She's been crying about it. She said that's the reason she's not working because she doesn't have the car.
No, the reason I'm not working was because I didn't have transportation getting back and forth to my job. I was living with my cousin. When he kicked me out, I was living in Rialto with my cousin. I had to go back and forth to work on the bus every day. I got off at 11 o'clock at night. The buses stopped running at 11. She wasn't going to come pick me up, and I had nowhere at home.
You seem like an intelligent young woman. Why aren't you in college?
All this stuff happened. I let everything go. But I'm going back. I wasn't going to stop, not go to school.
Yeah, you seem like a smart gal.
Yeah.
You seem like you should be doing something.
See, the problem is I was registered in school. I was living with them. I came back home to make matters good with him and her. I was living at home. I had got a job that day. The day he kicked me out, I was going to register for school. I had my registration fee. I had my loan taken care of and everything.
You filled out all the paperwork for that?
I filled out the paperwork because they said they would not do it.
She was a no-show. I co-signed for the application for her to go to college. And I called and couldn't find out she was a no-show, so I
was a no-show because I didn't have transportation.
Doesn't sound to me like you have a bad teenager.
No, she's not bad at all.
Sounds to me as if you have a young lady who has tremendous potential and who hasn't given you a lot of grief. No. She may have a little bit of a fresh mouth, if that's what you're complaining about, sir. These days, that's not such a tremendous big deal. She went to high school. She worked her way through high school. She got reasonable grades. She had enough of a job so that you felt comfortable about the fact that she was going to pay for a car loan. Mm-hmm. That sounds pretty reasonable to me. Not to you?
Sure it does.
Only one problem with that, she wasn't going to pay for it.
She wasn't going to pay for what?
She wasn't paying for the car loan.
I was paying for that car for a year and a half.
But you did not pay the last car note and lied and told me you did.
I didn't pay the last car note.
Don't fight with each other. Let us say she didn't pay the last 2 months. She paid in May, she paid June, July, August, September, October, November. You say she didn't pay December, January, and February. Is that right?
The first time.
She did not
Whatever, she paid something. I never had a child live with me that paid for a car that I got them.
Oh.
Never.
So she told me.
Not when they were 17.
Let me talk.
Go ahead.
Not when they were 18. Not when they're 30. What? So I don't know what you're complaining about your 17-year-old. You're being too hard on her. She looks like a very sweet girl.
Well.
Listen to me. Objectively. We're talking objectively. You tell me, stop playing with your papers, Mr. Ward. Lighten up a little bit. You say you have a 17-year-old daughter who graduated high school on time, and because of some misunderstanding the day of graduation, you didn't go, which was the wrong thing for you to do. I mean, if you get angry, you take a deep breath, and you show up at graduation. You don't not go to your daughter's graduation from high school. Did you go?
Yeah, I went.
And who else? And who was there for you?
My boyfriend's family was here.
I was
the only reason why she went because she said she had to get a program to show her job. Because she took that day off.
No. I'm sure that she went because, listen to me, I'm sure she went because she wanted to go. Your father's more of a, he comes from the old school. There's nothing wrong with the old school, Mr. Ward. It worked for a lot of people for a lot of generations. This is my house. As long as you live in my house, I own the air you breathe. You follow my rules. You act respectfully. That's all wonderful. Somehow, in today's times, that it's not always as perfect as that. And in the scheme of things, believe me, in the 25 years that I was in the family court system, I've seen a lot of kids. And there were a lot of parents out there who would give their eye teeth for a daughter who went to high school, acted responsibly, had a job after school, probably paid for her own clothes and paid for her own stuff, because that's what you work for when you spending money usually. And in addition to that, she helped contribute to her own transportation to get herself to school for a while, even if it was just for 8 months. And she paid for the insurance, even if it was just for 8 months.
Can I say something?
Sure, Mr. Ward.
Okay, you saying that she's a nice kid. That's my child, true enough. I'm not bad on her, but there's things that I expect her to respect me on. Number one, she got a job. She didn't pay for everything you said. She might have paid for the car. Half the time, she didn't have enough money to pay for the insurance. I had to come out my pocket. When she wanted clothes, I had to come out my pocket. When she wanted food to eat, they had to come out my pocket.
That's your job.
That's my job. That's my job. But after she turned 18, that was not my job.
I was only staying with you for a month.
No. That's your job. Listen
after
to me.
she turned 18, that is not my job.
And I was
that's
paying
the
for
law
my
here.
own food.
No, listen to me. While she was working, and before she turned 18, it was your job to provide for your daughter everything that you possibly could.
Before she turned 18, true.
Well, that may be, sir. I don't know what magic thing goes off in your head when a child celebrates their 18th birthday and they blow out the candles and you say,
well,
finished.
That's what
finished.
Well,
Mr. Ward, I don't know.
Until you live in my house, you won't know.
I don't want to live in your house, Mr. Ward.
I wouldn't want you there.
I don't want to live in your house, and I guarantee you my children wouldn't want to live in your house, and his children wouldn't want to live in your house. You know, I don't know.
Your rules in your house is your rules.
Absolutely right, Mr.
So my
Ward.
rules in my house is my rules.
And I understand that, and I appreciate that.
At least
but as a parent,
my child, as me being a parent, I haven't raised no kid to be a gangbanger or anything else.
True. And you did very well with her.
No, I have not.
But you did.
Because the time is now. The law changed so much that kids right now, instead of listening to their parents, they listen to people in the street.
It is not a perfect world, sir.
I didn't say it was.
You're not paying attention.
I am paying attention.
It's not a perfect world. Children are different now. They are exposed to different stimuli. But we look at children, if I look at children objectively, and I look at your daughter objectively, she was a reasonably responsible teenager.
No.
You didn't have to take her out of rehab and put her back
Yes,
every other Tuesday and Thursday.
I never been in a rehab.
Let's put it like this here. I had to take her from different places. One was from jail.
You mean when she shoplifted?
When I shoplifted.
Because
that's
she
it.
was told before she did it, don't do it.
Just a second. I'm not talking about that, Mr. Ward. I'm talking about rehab.
You talking about somebody been going drinking?
No, I'm saying to you, kids get involved in a lot of things. Your daughter doesn't deserve any medals because she didn't, and because she seemed to have grown up well, probably because she lived in a household where there were rules. But she's not an irresponsible, off-the-wall teenager. And why you would sue her is something that is totally beyond me. To create a rift with your daughter over something like this is beyond me. You should be supporting her.
Okay,
And her, you should be supporting her
somebody
in her.
that spends all your money and don't
Honor,
appreciate what she
I've been
get.
working since I was 14. I've been helping them
That's
out
why I got you the
since
car,
I was
'cause you've been
14 years
working.
old. I was going to school, and in the summer I had to work. Okay, every year in high school I was working.
Okay.
And they're acting like I'm like just a bad person over here. I'm just telling you straight up. I had no time for nothing.
She's
Go to
wrong.
school and work. Pay their bills. I was paying all 3 cars insurance. When they
She's
lied and
wrong.
said it was just for my car.
Oh.
$265 just for one car.
For a month?
A month.
No, she wasn't. Her insurance was $200, and it was more than what she was paying. They bought it down because I put it on my insurance, and I put hers with mine. If she'd have went on her own, she didn't have to pay $277.
Just a second. This is getting interesting. Is what you're telling me, Mr. Ward, that because you put the insurance on this car on your combined policy,
Her insurance went down.
her insurance went down, but the amount that she was paying covered all 3 cars?
No.
Yes, it did.
Well, how much was the insurance on your 2 cars?
The insurance for me was $84. Insurance for my wife, hers was a little bit lower, was either 69 or 64.
And mine was 160. So if
hers
you add
was
all that up,
200.
that's 200 and something. There's no one would pay almost $400, $500 a month for insurance.
That doesn't sound right to me.
Okay.
Somehow it doesn't sound right to me. I just changed my mind about this accident. You should have put it into your insurance.
Yeah, I should have bought
You
that.
should have put it into your insurance. If you had put it into your insurance, what did you have, a $500 deductible?
Yeah,
Or no deductible?
the $500 deductible.
Did you have the car fixed?
No.
No, I don't have the car.
She gave it to my aunt. My aunt's son is driving it back and forth to school now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Other than
He
giving
gave
it
her-
back
is
to
that
the
right?
bank.
Your aunt's son?
No, my sister-in-law have it because I cannot afford that.
And another minor is driving the car?
Well, I
No,
didn't
he's not a
approve of
minor, he's a
that.
grown man.
How old is he?
He's 20.
I didn't approve of that. I told my sister.
I gave my sister
yeah,
the car.
while I
And
was
his
at work.
truck.
Just a second.
So now they're
Just a
all
second. Well, you're making a big mistake because a 20-year-old boy has more of a problem getting insurance than a 20-year-old girl. That I know because I've had both boys and girls. Boys are less responsible. So if you're letting your 20...
सो वेलकम बैक टू अनदर वीडियो। तो आज हमारा है दूसरा व्लॉग और मैं बताऊंगा कि आज मेरी रूटीन क्या है, अभी काम की रूटीन क्या है। ठीक है, सो अभी मेरा लैपटॉप तो वहाँ पे ओपन है और यहाँ पे मैंने अब दूसरा लैपटॉप ओपन कर लिया क्योंकि एक लैपटॉप के ऊपर काम नहीं हो पा रहा। असल में 2-3 वीडियोस का काम करना होता है एट ए टाइम, तो उस वजह से एक लैपटॉप में काम नहीं हो पा रहा। अच्छा जी, अब हमने करनी है दूसरी वीडियो डाउनलोड। पहले हम भेज दें व्हाट्सएप पे। ये आ गया सेट। इसको हम यहाँ से डाउनलोड करेंगे। लेट्स सी कितना टाइम में डाउनलोड होती है। बिकॉज मुझे ये वीडियो बहुत अच्छी लगी थी।
You're Miss Bowman. I'm Miss Bowman, her mother.
ये आ गया गेट लिंक। साढ़े 3 घंटे की, और इस वजह से ही ये इसको डाउनलोड नहीं कर रहा। बहुत ज़्यादा लेंथ है ना, तो उसको ये डाउनलोड नहीं कर रहा। यहाँ पे आई थिंक तो कैप्शंस बन चुके हैं, तो हमने कैप्शंस को देना है यहाँ पे टेम्पलेट। ये हमने टेम्पलेट भी दे दिया। नो, वीडियो डाउनलोड नहीं हो रही लेंथ की वजह से। इस पे भी नहीं हो रही, कुछ और फाइंड करते हैं। यूट्यूब वीडियो डाउनलोड है, बल्कि नहीं, हम इसका लिंक भेज देते हैं। मैंने ये हमारे पास आ गया वीडियो डाउनलोडर का लिंक। यहाँ से हम इसको करेंगे कॉपी, यहाँ से हम इसको करेंगे पेस्ट। लेट्स सी कि ये डाउनलोड होता है कि नहीं होता। Oh yes, it's going to download. अब ये देखते हैं कि कितनी देर में डाउनलोड होगा। Yeah, it's saying 3 minutes. It's fair enough. यहाँ से हमारा टेम्पलेट आई थिंक सो लग गया है, लेकिन साइज बहुत ज़्यादा, तो हम इसको छोटा कर देंगे 6 पे। अब हम इसको कर देंगे डाउन। इस पर हम लगाएंगे कोई ना कोई फिल्टर लगाएंगे ना, तो ताकि उससे हमारी वीडियो बिल्कुल ओरिजिनल हो सके। फिल्टर में से हम ग्लो लगा देंगे। ये हमारा ग्लो फिल्टर लग गया। अब आप मेरे लैपटॉप की आवाज़ सुन सकते हैं, इसका फैन इतनी तेज हो गया। अब हमने लोगों से सब्सक्राइब भी करवाना है, तो सब्सक्राइब के लिए हम यहाँ पे लगाएंगे बड़ा सा टेक्स्ट। यानी टेम्पलेट में यहाँ हम कोई अच्छा सा टेम्पलेट सेलेक्ट कर लेते हैं। आ रहा हूँ। ठीक है, बहुत है।